Thursday group. I think I fucked up. Thank you. Alright, so then just create a character in the Thursday group.
Yeah, I believe we're starting at level 3.
There we go.
Hold on, I forgot you need to change the push. Actually, hold on, let me see. I think I no longer need to be on push to talk on streams. Wow, that's actually really huge. Yeah, right now the chat doesn't see us. We usually have a 5-minute buffer before. But yes, if you guys want to play without talents, that will actually give you guys a level boost.
I'm taking talents, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. What I'm referring to is this. If you take talents, then you are level 3. If you don't take talents, you have a 2-level buffer, so you actually start at level 5. And as the campaign goes on, the talent system is as so. Every 4 levels, you guys are considered 1 level higher. So for the most part, this doesn't really affect the players who have extra levels until the talent people hit level 12, because then all of a sudden the player without talents is now level 15. Meaning that when the talent people hit level 16, the players without talents will actually hit level 20. And seeing as how this campaign is designed for the people with talents to get to 16, it means that if you're playing without talents, you will actually be able to get to level 20.
I like that. Quick question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, how many talents do we have at level 3 again?
Yeah. You have 1 from first level, and then you have 1 from being level 3, and every time you hit a level, like a 3rd level interval, you get another talent. Okay. So that would mean 6, 9, and so forth.
Okay.
Alright. And I want to go over...
like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So that's 6 talents.
Yes. Throughout the course of levels 1 through 16, you will eventually get 6 talents. If this was one of the Sin campaigns, then level 18 would be the moment where you get your 7th talent, and that was like the really busted ones.
I actually downloaded all of those talents so I could quickly access them.
I mentioned this before, but just as all the other campaigns used to be titled as Homebrew World with the Blank group, we started a new thing where we started naming campaigns. So your guys' official campaign name is now Treasures of the Lost.
Not for the booty?
Not for the booty, no.
Not for the grace for the might of the Lord.
Alright, let's see. Okay. Quick question. Actually, give me 1 second.
Sounds like a fire alarm.
Right?
Yeah, I know, I hate that thing. It's a cooking thing I have. Optional class features, customize origin, those things are allowed, right?
Yes. I allow everything. For the purposes of anyone who checks in Homebrew, you have to have the Homebrew approved by me first, in which case, as an example, we have Bella, who has already had her Homebrew race approved because it is something that, is pretty commonly well received.
And then, I just want to, confirm some things. I know the answer to most of these, some of them I don't, but just in case everyone. Hit point type is fixed, right?
Entirely your choice. However, though, if you do manual, I will allow rerolls of 1s and 2s, because I just don't think that's fair whenever someone goes through that. Now, of course, this means that 3s and 4s are allowed, which sucks if you have higher averages, but hey, I at least want to give you guys the opportunity to know that if you ever get a 1 or a 2 on a hit die roll, you can reroll those to potentially get higher.
Oh, that's really nice.
5 1s. Can I ask for a reroll?
Every time you roll 1. Even rerolling a 1 into a 1 will demand a reroll.
Oh shit, that's nice. Yeah, never 1 or never 2.
Yeah, never 1s or 2s. The minimal on any hit die roll is a 3. Which is pretty cool. Nice, because that means, even as a wizard, that still could potentially mean you can get lower than the 4 average.
And then, encumbrance type?
We are no longer using variant encumbrance, but we are still using the standard encumbrance rules.
Okay. Ignore coin weight?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. And
I can lug around
then
my several pounds of coins.
I think that's
Ignore the
about
weight of your
it. That's
sins.
like kind of extra mechanically. Okay, cool.
So, let's go ahead and the curtains are now up, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and proper do an introduction. Welcome, everyone. Back to, sorry, not back to, just welcome to Session 0 of Treasures of the Lost. Right now, accompanying us today are 5 of the 6 players here. One of our players, it's been a long day for them, so we're going to catch them up and give them a little bit of homework, especially because today is about establishing characters, backstories, and answering questions about the campaign to come, as well as kind of establishing what to expect from this campaign as far as theme-wise goes and so forth. As always, I always will tell any DM and player out there, Session Zeros are really important. They help you really understand, get along with your characters, really establish the not even setting, but more of like the tone, and as well as any boundaries that anyone might have within the campaign. Sometimes people change, and so do their boundaries. If someone found something tolerable in the first one, but no longer finds it tolerable in the campaigns moving forward, that's always a very good thing to know. As always, I always tell my players, while we are an adult stream, Asclepius, while we are an adult stream, we very much want to avoid any slurs and such. I don't expect that from my players, but it is always a good precaution to let note. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and just start by introducing the players, and then as we go through the stream, we will be redoing the names that you see on screen as well as the images with what they provide us. You all would recall Andrew, who played Journey throughout the journey of the last campaign.
Hi, I'm Andrew, also known as Aken, for those of you who know me online.
Mm-hmm. Joining us for the first time today is Bella. She is someone who is a fantastic artist. Bella, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bella. I can't wait to play with you guys.
Yeah. Anything you want to shout out or let people know?
I stream on Twitch, and I also play on the Docking XP Veering Off Misfits stream on Twitch as well.
There we go.
That's my state.
A return to the streams, used to be part of our Tuesday group, but now as one of our Thursday members is JTR.
I returned! After about, 2 or 3 months of inactivity, I'm back!
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I used to be a part of the Tuesday streams.
Absolutely.
And it is good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
I've been gone for too long.
Oh yes, I'm so happy to have you back here. Missing today, Jasmine, who played Nalai. She is once again just a bit overwhelmed. We're going to give her a little bit of homework. Following that up is Soda, who you would all recall as because your character was added in so late into it. Oh my god. So would you please?
I was Steve from accounting in NK9 last session.
Yes, thank you. And last but not least is Asclepius, who you all would recall playing Ascent and then leading up to Rose.
Yes, and tragically missed a long time because life do be like that,
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay, we fixed that. No longer will I be absent. On God, cross my heart.
Oh yeah. And so, let me go ahead and just tell you all this. This adventure, we joked about at one point, discussing it as kind of a thing for Atlantis, but for anyone, I believe this is a very fun time to make a return for an interesting thing from the previous homebrew world, and any of my players who recall this might know what the next words I'm about to say could mean as far as a terror goes. This is a return of the Vault, a mega dungeon, as you will, that houses magic items that are supposed to be destined for the people who find them. Items that are so powerful they take up all 3 attunement slots, but give you ridiculously levels of, just power that is perfectly suited for your character. In fact, it is a custom homebrew item that only that character can attune to. So, the premise is, this is something that has been lost to time and to history. The Vault is a location that at one point held powers that were too strong for the world to contain, and so it vanished out of thin air. Luckily enough, our extremely wealthy benefactor is going to pay the best to go into uncharted territories, but sadly the best died, so this is our next group.
Oh, funny.
Well, I mean, when the A team fails, you gotta come.
Allow me to give you guys an idea of the voice and mentality behind your benefactor. Hi everyone, the name's Cave Johnson. We're gonna go ahead here and find people who are expendable. No, I'm sorry, adventurous, looking to chart into very scary territory. You see, you guys are pioneers more than anything. Risk takers. We like risk takers around these parts.
Gonna get scammed.
We're gonna get killed.
No, we're gonna get lemons that can burn your house down.
What's
Hey,
expendable?
wait, real quick, what's your stance on teleporting bread?
Teleporting bread? We love it. We love it here. Don't you understand? I had one guy who teleported bread so much that we absolutely had him sent home as a vacation. Wonderful time. It has nothing to do with the horrible growths that were on his body.
Oh,
Be your own boss.
that's nice.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Exactly. That's crazy.
And so the idea is that our player characters, for the first half of this adventure, or at least the first 2/3 of this adventure, depending on how it goes, are going to find a MacGuffin that should help them find the vault. This MacGuffin, even in itself, is still a rumor and a myth, and so they have to go into uncharted territories after a very long voyage across the sea. Will then go to the northernmost isle in the entire world, and from there we'll have to survive the perils of this region and this isle, all in the hopes of finding an ancient lost. We'll give it even compass, as you will, that leads to another ancient lost treasure, aka the name of the campaign, Treasures of the Lost.
Okay, so we're just.
The treasure is real.
The treasure was the friends I made along the way, and this gun I found.
I don't know why, that makes me think of the one where it's the lizard folk. The real rations are the friends we made along the way.
Oh no.
Alright, good idea for next character.
And so, something I started doing about for the campaigns moving forward is that we started having rolls for backstory purposes. You would have a D100 roll that would have you somehow answer this question through your backstory. So, as an example, we have Andrew that got name and describe your character's favorite song. A bard might know it. We have JTR who got what is the perfect gift to give your character and what kind of gift would they give someone. Everyone but one has actually done this, which is why today is a perfect opportunity for us to actually pull this up.
Oh, I have not made this yet. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the drive.
I believe I know just about everything for this game, as far as like motivations and reasons for travel, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and share it with me. Pulling it right now.
Let's.
Hey. Let's see, where the fuck is... Oh, hold on. I need to actually pull it up from here. Share it with me. Alright, here it is. Okay, Asclepius. Go ahead and roll us a D100. If you like the one you got, let us know. I'm more than fine with re-rolls, but so far most everyone has been pretty satisfied with what they got.
D100.
Mhm.
One away from greatness, 68.
68. Okay. You got the following question. When someone is lost, there's a clan of rangers, trackers, people can call to for help. Describe this company and name their leader.
Oh, as far as my backstories go?
Yeah, this is a thing you have to integrate into your backstory. Do you like
Okay,
this one,
so-
or do you want a reroll?
I think I want to reroll simply for the fact that my character is intended to be a loner of sorts.
All right. Go ahead and give me another reroll.
as a 95 this time, Chief.
A 95? Okay. Describe a local landmark that is significant to some clerics and paladins.
A local landmark significant to clerics and paladins. Okay. I don't know the constraints of your world.
This is the whole point of like this. This is to help add into world building as well as your backstory.
All right.
Once again, if you recall, we are community. What's number 4? Collaborative world building.
Real quick, Asclepius,
Yes, sir.
if you want, if you take that, you can basically design the place my character came from, because I'm planning to be a cleric, and then we can have the one positive. Because another thing is we're supposed to have one positive and one negative amongst our group. So, like, there's one negative thing that we have with a player, and one positive thing that we have with a player. And I'm thinking, like, you and I could have met prior to this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, actually, let me go ahead and add into that as well. Since if this question is doing you well, Asclepius, we can move forward.
Yeah.
The idea as well is that every single one of you needs to have one positive relation with someone in the party and one negative connection with someone else from the party. This way, we have at least half of the party that knows each other. The positive connection can be something as grand as you are someone who I grew up with. You're like a brother to me. I couldn't see you any other way. Versus something as simple as, do you remember that time I gave you a slice of orange? Negative connection can go also the same way. You killed my grandma. Versus, oh, it's the guy who stole a copper piece from me. The copper piece didn't matter too much, but it's the principle.
It's the principle of the matter.
I saw this man rob a...
That food thing just reminded me of
I'm his parole officer.
Here, and as well, remember, one at a time. We know how to share the microphone, everyone.
Yeah, true.
So, it's with this in mind. This is kind of a cool way to also give us an idea as to what you're thinking of for your character. Would anyone like to volunteer first what they have in mind for their character? That way we can start establishing connections.
Haha, I got this. The perks of plagiarizing, I already know exactly what I'm doing with this. My character has dreams set on a perfect world. A world where nobody has to worry about any, a true utopia. And through one way or another, I would like to have picked up some information on some ancient relic of power that would ultimately bring about the utopia that he dreams of.
Okay. Dreaming of a world that at least is perfect in your character's eyes. Always a good way to help establish something. All right. Does anyone want to volunteer to let us know about their character next?
I don't mind going if anyone else doesn't want to go.
Yeah, go for it. Let us know.
I'm
let us
more
know
or
what you
less
have in mind.
thinking. I'm kind of thinking
So,
on the spot. You take your time.
My character is a bit of a, he's a doctor. He has a Hippocratic oath to help anyone he finds. Although he is gritty and a bit piratey, because I thought, why not make a doctory pirate? Because those don't mix. I like them. They're like, they feel like water and oil, and I like characters that are kind of water and oily. So it's gonna be something like that. Eventually, I'm assuming, since I'm also a warlock, or going to go into a warlock, I'm going to be a celestial warlock. So I'm assuming, like, maybe a patron of my god came to contact and is helping me along with my quest to kind of just, help people as they need.
All right. So I like the idea of this pirate doctor. We can easily work with this a lot. As you can also see, I am showcasing my wonderful art skills to show our good boy here. Look at him go, everyone.
Look at him go.
I was kind of thinking of like, I don't know, a grittier version of since we were talking about what's it called so much, that one Disney movie, I forgot what it's called. Oh wait, is it just called Atlantis?
Yeah.
Okay,
How like the doctor is like just a buff guy, kind of like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go. Thank you for that important detail. Let me give you that. Look at that. Look at that 12 pack, everyone. Yeah, 10 pack. All right. I'm assuming that you would like to go next, Bella, or does anyone else?
I can go last. I already have all my stuff.
All right.
I can go.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, I plan on playing a guy called Leshire, and basically his whole deal is that he wants to do quests and adventures to make a name of himself, and for his former adventuring group. So he wants to make sure his former group enters in the names of the legends and such, too.
Okay.
And he's a druid that uses cameras for wild shape and summoning purposes.
I believe we also had talked to this at least in enough detail to know that because this is one of the areas of the world that isn't heavily magical based, your camera is very much like that of of the older cameras that actually had like a full setup in order to take the shot.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
And, with a big noticeable flash.
Oh, 100%. JTR, you said you were still thinking about what you wanted to do?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Bella, now's a better time than ever.
I am making a character called Calliope with a K because I'm original like that. And she is part of this organization, which, given my background thing, it said think of a mercenary group, right? So she's part of this organization called the Wild and Wraiths, which is basically a group of mercenaries from the Feywilds under the Unseelie Queen. And it's a group of hot warrior women, right?
Oh, yes.
And she's a Bard of Whispers. And she's a very kind of jolly, very would like to adventure and stuff. And she's sent out in this part of the world. And she's very, like, kind of bright and sunny as a person, but her magic is very unnerving because she's a Bard of Whispers. So,
okay,
yeah,
I can dig
that's
this.
who I got so far.
Let me go ahead and give you the very much the boom boom that's giving
Every time I think of whispers, I always think of that one stupid song where it's like, "Hey, pretty mama, let me whisper in your ear."
Oh, and I'm playing a homebrew race, which is called the Antlers, which is a Fey derivative of what tieflings are, essentially. And so instead of fiendish, it's Fey.
Hell yeah.
That's
There
it.
you go.
I'm done. I drew her face in D&D general.
Perfect.
I
Let me go ahead and
I feel like I forego. It's actually kind of cute, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I forego to give my class and grace and all. My character Lloyd is a changeling Kinsey monk. That's the vibe here.
Okay, changeling can say monk. We can dig this.
Yes.
So,
Lots
this
world
is also a good reminder as well. If you have not claimed your character on D&D Beyond, make sure your character is actually claimed, so that way I can remove any previous characters from the campaign.
Or I'll take it.
So I think, yeah, Calliope is not claimed. Lloyd is just was made, so not claimed yet.
I think it's not
Yeah.
claimed. I made the character.
I made the character, but it doesn't claim it automatically. If you
Yes.
make the
That's
custom.
dumb. How do I
Yes.
claim it?
So you go to the campaign, and when you see your character, there should be an option that has a little flag that says claim.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Mine.
It's one of those things where sometimes people just have hard times making characters. So the DM this is a system where the DM can go out of their way to make the character for them.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful. So I can remove hero with no name.
Oh no. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go without talent. Am I level 5 then, or level 4?
Oh, hold on.
5.
You said you're going without talent?
Without.
Then level 5.
Level 5, yeah.
We all look beautiful in the doodles.
There we go. Yes, hello. I am back. The doodles are indeed great. And it dawned on me as well that I had to, like... Oh, wait, hold on. Someone's a Dragonborn. Duh. Fix. Horn. Horn.
Good enough.
There you go.
There we go. And, like, we have to, like, do the whole, like...
Skills. Yep. There
Yeah,
you go.
we're still giving him a 5 o'clock shadow. He somehow grew hair as a Dragonborn.
The 5 o'clock shadows.
He has that one magic item that makes him grow a beard like a dwarf.
It's not hair, it's like catfish whiskers.
Oh, it's just little whiskers. Oh, that's great. So, let's see. So we have
Was that
Leshire.
Skittles?
Yes, that was indeed Skittles. She is right now doing some little bit of stuff before she has to get ready for work. As well. Let's see. Okay.
So,
we
wait,
have-
can you do me a favor?
What's up?
Tell her I said hey and I'll see her on Saturday.
JTR says hi. I will see you on Saturday. She says hi. Let's see. So far, this is what I'm accounting for right now. I'm seeing. Barbosa. I know you have it set to level 1 because you're still selecting your class and stuff. Are you doing talents or are you doing no talents?
No talents.
Okay, there we go. Level 5 start. Let me go ahead and begin to adjust the names. And
Yeah. It's in general. I posted it yesterday. No, not yesterday. Like last week. This is the character. It's just not colored in yet. But I can get you an updated one next week. Okay.
there we go. Let me actually quickly adjust this because I need to change my hotkey and remove push to talk now. There we go. Okay. Push to talk has now been removed. I can go ahead and update this as I need. Speaking of which, okay. So Barbosa is here. We're going to go ahead and update the character art. But while I'm doing this stuff, let's go ahead and start doing this. I know, Andrew, you had an idea for you and Asclepius to have a positive connection. Why don't you let us know a little bit more about what you had in mind?
I guess barring whatever Asclepius decides I came from. I came from a monk area. No, non-monk area. My bad. A cleric area. Pretty popular. And seeing how, I don't know, maybe Asclepius's character. Oh wait, you said you wanted to search for an item of power, right? Asclepius?
Asclepius? Oh, he is banished.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
We love Discord bugs, baby. Let's go. Alright.
Let's go.
My character has learned of a item of power that is said to bring about a utopia.
That sounds like a interesting coincidence, because I do want peace for there to be around. I want peace as well, so I will help you with your quest.
So here, once again, everyone, this is a good thing as to why I bring up. We are in session 0, so I'm gonna go ahead and help add into your stuff, rather than know about an item of power. Asclepius, what if we did this instead? Your character is still has heard the legends and myths of the vault, knowing that it is supposed to be an item that is destined for you. And if your destiny is that you believe you can bring about a utopia, the item in the vault should help you bring about this destiny.
Certainly. And for as far as like a landmark for clerics, specifically. If it was for paladins, I could go with like a historical figure. For clerics, would you perhaps mind like a I think like a Yggdrasil kind of thing, a world tree, source of all life.
Oh, I got this for you. There already
That's
is a
cool.
world tree in the homebrew world.
Oh,
So the world tree within the homebrew world is actually found within the country. Let me pull it up. As well, everyone, don't forget there is a interactive map that you can see within within the player handouts. I'm trying to make sure Neo Xeno. Okay, world map. Ooh. Yes. Okay. The world tree is found within the country of Rock, spelled R-O-K.
rock again? Heck, okay.
Yep. In fact,
I never
actually,
thought there would be a world tree there. Okay.
so the main thing is that like Rock, it's really weird. Rock doesn't like the fact that the world tree is very magical, but they also don't revere it that way because it's very natural, if that makes sense. Like, magic can be divided into 3 different subcategories of divine, primal, and arcane. Rock probably of all the magics sees primal as the most natural of them all, and thus has little to no issue with that one. Also, as well, Bella, just for the time being, I have your character. I have the work in progress you gave us in the general chat as the filler in until you have a completed one.
Sure thing.
Yep. So pretty cool idea. But now I'm gonna ask this, Andrew. Do you have anything in mind for your negative yet?
You said something kind of funny. I'm not sure. Bella, are you still a warlock or no?
I will be multi-classing into Warlock, yeah.
Okay. You're not a warlock yet, are you?
No, I'm a bard at the moment.
Alright, never mind. No, I have no idea for my negative yet.
Alright. Let's see. Let me count this out. 1, 2, 3. Dragon, barbarian. Just being sure, is that your character's name, JTR? Sulfarn?
Yes.
Perfect. Alright. Do you have an idea? Actually, this is probably a better time to be asked. Do you have a better idea for your character as far as mild backstory goes? Once again, this is Session 0. You don't have to have a completed backstory yet.
For mine, I'm basically like having him be a wandering barbarian that's just trying to find a way to get stronger.
Okay. Pretty
But then
understandable.
but like, okay, he's not as smart as everyone else. His intelligence is 7, so I have to find a way to work around that, and say
Truly
that he heard of a thing called adventuring. He's looking for a group to try that out, because he also heard that he needs a group of people in order to do said adventuring. So he's currently looking for a group to help he's looking for a group to help him with this with his journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the vault that he heard about from one specific person. It was a shady guy he found in an alleyway. He told him that there was this vault that a rich guy was sending people to.
Yes. So do recall that more than anything, the vault even then is it's exactly that, a myth, a legend. And so, while it's not confirmed, it is said that there is this benefactor who's looking for people to hire to potentially go and uncover it.
I'm saying this in the terms of like how he heard it.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, like he said he basically heard it as he heard a shady guy from an alleyway say that there was a rich guy that said that there was a vault that might have things that were destined for him, whatever that means.
Okay, I can dig this.
So now as of right now, he's trying to find a group he's trying to find a group so that way he can go on this adventure.
Okay. Let's So with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and ask, because Barbosa and Lloyd sound like they have a good positive connection going. Calliope, Sulfarn, and Leshire. Do you guys have anyone in mind, just from what you've heard of backstory alone, to be a good positive connection?
I thought of a potential positive or negative.
Okay.
What if one of the party members reminds of one of his old ones?
Alright, that's a pretty...
And that'll either bring them closer to them or farther from them.
Alright, that's a pretty easy one to kind of integrate anyone into, so it's a pretty easy one too. Bella, you were also saying?
I was just saying I could mostly have a positive relationship with anybody. If anything, the negatives would be like, also, it could also be anybody because she's trying to get to the vault for her mistress.
Alright. I'm curious,
So,
then, how would you write off that your mistress heard about anyone pursuing the vault?
I would assume she's the Fey Queen, you know? She's the Unseelie Queen, at least.
Yeah.
That, items of power in general would interest her.
Fair enough.
So I don't really have like a specific as to how she came across this information, because
Yeah.
Calliope is mostly just a foot soldier.
A foot soldier who, I'm curious. So, at least this is gonna be one of those things where we're gonna see as the adventure unfolds, to see is your character gonna come more out of their shell and want to achieve something for themselves, or is it 100% like for the queen?
At the moment, she's for the queen, yeah. But I'm keeping my cards to myself right now on the goal.
Yeah, Bella, you just gave me a bit of an idea. So you said you served the Fey Queen, right?
Yeah.
Actually, Leshire would be from the Feywild, being a
Yeah.
Furbolg and everything. So
Yeah.
maybe we know each other before this by just meeting in the Feywild at some point.
Yeah. She's been around for quite a bit.
I'm gonna DM question.
Alright, let me go ahead.
I'm gonna put my negative as something small and say that while my character was looking at a flower, he saw one of your characters step on it. And he felt sad.
Oh, Zeno, I have a real quick question. How does leveling work when you don't have traits? Do you gain a level every time someone was supposed to gain a trait? Is that basically how it goes? Or
So, if you're playing without talents, you are forever 2 levels higher than the rest of the party. So when everyone gets a level, you get a level. The way this works is that once the group, the people with talents hits level 12, people without talents get an extra level on top of that, boosting the gap to a 3-level difference, because talents-wise, level 12 characters are considered level 15 for the purposes of encounter building.
understood.
And then, as so forth, because it's every 4 levels, a person is considered 1 level higher. A level 16 person with talents is considered a level 20 character, which means people without talents are just now level 20. So they get the extra level at 16 and 12.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'm like trying to big brain my way through this, like forcing myself to be muted. I feel really bad for myself here.
I am struggling to think of a negative connection, though, for my guy, other than what I said previously.
And that's fine. So right now, JTR, this is going to be one of those things where your homework, I'm going to talk to Jasmine. We know for a fact that the two of you are, with everyone else having their positive connections with each other, that means that you and Jasmine are going to go ahead and have a positive connection with each other. It's going to be something you're going to work with as we lead to the session 1, okay?
Okay.
But now that everyone knows their positive connections, and you guys can, this is part of that whole use your positive connection and establish it into your backstories. Obviously, it shouldn't be like a copy paste for each other, but it should be your perspective of how you form this connection. So, like, well, yes, Calliope and Leshire saw each other and might know each other from the Feywild. Their perspectives on each other and how they connected is different. Which then adds into, let's talk negatives.
Yeah, I think I've got a negative setup with Bella's character.
Alright, let us hear it.
Being the loner that Lloyd is, one way or another, I was exiled from the Feywild, and as such, Bella being all in it with the Queen, we would not be on very solid terms, I don't think, since we are both from Fey.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Let us know a little more.
Well, if the Queen is looking for an item of power for their benefit, and I see the item of power as a way to bring about world peace for everything, not necessarily for just the Fae, I could see a source of tension there and get essentially kicked from the party, only to be picked up again by Bella and the Fae Queen, with or without their noticing.
So, you generally were like against the Queen's side, or I'm trying to more understand.
Generally against the Queen's vision. Perhaps, like, I don't know what the Queen would necessarily want the item of power for, but if I saw it as unfit to for that general use, then I could be exiled or exile myself, believing that my intent is better than the Queen.
And since, you know, not always trying not to speak for people's characters, but once again, Calliope, since you're for the Queen, would this be would you consider this a pretty good thing as a negative, where like the two of you come across each other and you know each other due to the fact that he is against the Queen?
Yeah. I would have known or like, been there when he'd been exiled at least, because Calliope kind of serves as like a handmaiden, because the Wildland Wraiths are like the Queen's like personal group, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So, that's a pretty understandable thing. Are you both content with this being your negative?
Oh yeah, totally.
All right.
Right.
So, yeah. Once again, add this into your adding this into your backstory. Similar with the positive connections, you two know each other, but from a different perspective. So, whereas Lloyd understood that you saw Calliope as one of the handmaidens to the Queen, your vision of the Queen could probably reflect badly upon Calliope, just as Calliope, his against the Queen reflects badly at you in your perspective of the backstory. So this is just some extra fluff to help add to your guys' backstory, as well as for roleplay purposes later down the line. That being said, this is a reminder, everyone. This is at the end of the day, D&D is collaborative storytelling. While yes, your characters might not be on the same sides as each other, you still have to work together at the end of the day. So going out of your way to negatively affect the other not just ruins the momentum of what we're trying to do as far as game-wise goes, but it very much comes out as you're going after a target that you yourself have set on their back. So, while I understand that negative connections are going to be a thing, I hope that this does not mean you guys are going to actively hurt each other's characters.
Oh, heck no. I'm not. Like,
Dang,
again, I'm
to
looking...
murder him.
Not physically.
I'm looking for world...
Not physically.
Maybe mentally,
I'm looking for
but not
world
physically.
peace. What kind of world peace advocate would I be if I just randomly started beating up people? Even if I'm their, like, sworn enemy.
That doesn't mean I won't insult you, but I won't like actively go against you in terms of combat.
Yeah, that's pretty rude.
All right. So, it sounds like two people have their positives and negatives. I would still like to know, we still have Barbosa, we still have Sulfarn, and we still have Leshire. From the three of you, if you guys have a negative connection that, once again, adding into each other, we know that the person who is the outlier will be the one who will also have to hit up Jasmine to establish a negative connection.
Well, I already have a positive with Jasmine. I don't think I can have a...
That is correct. JTR already has a positive connection with Jasmine, so it has to be either Leshire or Barbosa that has a negative connection with Jasmine's character, which, once again, for the purposes of the fact that she's not here, and that's a little bit of homework on her, you are saved from having to establish a negative connection today.
I feel bad because Nalai was like such a nice person. But I will take the task of negative.
All right.
And so far,
I'm going to take one for the team, even though he really doesn't want to.
The only negative I can currently think of is possibly with Barbosa or Lloyd, because from what I'm hearing, either they're pretty prideful or their vision might not work well with nature. Possibly, he might see it as a bit of a, all right, I should keep an eye on him.
Right, though there is a little bit of an issue, Leshire. If you make a positive connection with Barbosa, Sulfarn can't make a negative connection with Jasmine's character, and as such, Lloyd and Calliope have already established a negative connection with each other.
Oh, I don't mind having
I don't
multiple.
mind
I
having
already have a
yeah,
positive.
I don't mind having multiple connections.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Connections.
sure.
Multiple connections is fine. It's actually. Let's see, because that would mean then Sulfar needs to have another. At least everyone has to have at least one of these. That's the main thing. So
Yeah.
one of the easiest ways to pair this up is that Sulfarn and Leshire can have something, but if that's not the case, then Sulfarn you can also have a negative connection with one other person. So this is the time. This is the time. Think about your guys' characters and speak out. Use this to. Here's probably the best way. I am your guys' answers to world building questions. If you guys want to know. What does it mean when there's for example a fate court? That's actually something that I hadn't had in my world because we haven't really had people establishing fate stuff. So now I have to work on a fate thing for Calliope.
I was assuming the Seelie and the Unseelie, Unseelie being like the more goblinoid fate type. At least that's what I'm. Yeah.
Ooh, okay,
Hey,
that's actually pretty good. Some more
Sulfarn.
goblin lore is always appreciated.
So Zero, you said Sulfarn needs a negative or something, right?
Yes, Sulfarn needs a negative connection, though it doesn't have to be from you if someone else wishes to establish a negative connection with them.
Oh, I don't really mind either way who I have a negative with, but Sulfarn, do you?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, is there anything you can tell me about your character that might not be appealing to a druid type and/or I guess seasoned adventurer type, somewhat?
Druids are like nature type people, right?
Yeah, my guy is specifically a shepherd, if that helps. He's more about, striking a balance than anything.
He may or may not. My character may or may not be wearing bear claws on his wrists, on his hands. You think it might be better for fighting?
I mean, you're still using most of the bear. You're not exactly wasting it, so.
Yeah, but keep this murder bear.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how prideful would you describe Sulfarn to be?
Pretty prideful.
Then I think that might be my guy's negative, as he doesn't really care for those with a lot of ego, so to speak. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I'm struggling to word this, so the best I can say is he doesn't like the prideful.
Okay. So I think that's the best option for the negative. Just he's really prideful and it is not like it is not okay to be that prideful, I guess. But he won't understand what that means.
Ooh, and this could lead to moments like him going like a disappointed grandpa, like, young man.
He's just standing there like, what? What did I do? I did the thing. I killed a monster. What did I do?
Alright, and if you'd like, you can have a negative Leshire, obviously.
Right, I still need to have my negative. I got it. So, wait. No, I need to think a bit more.
And if there's any questions that would help you formulate negative for Leshire, I'm happy to answer.
I'm trying to think of a way to, like, How do I make my character prideful enough? Well, how do I? I'm trying to think of a way to like make my character be angry at someone, and
It
even
can
if he
also be
isn't.
for a petty reason too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Don't
Someone's
forget that like
still-
your negative connection doesn't
Yeah,
have to be grandiose. It just can be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
Oh,
exiled from the Fey Queen court.
It could just be as simple as when they eat next to you, they use their left hand, but you use your right hand, so you guys are always clashing
constantly
out.
touching hands.
Yeah, it's real annoying.
Chewing with your
Hey.
mouth open, like golly.
So far, I just thought of something. If you don't mind me putting the idea out.
oh no, please, please do. I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Please do.
So, Leshire's camera requires all this setup, right?
Yes.
And likely makes a lot of noise and a big flash. Maybe you just really hate his camera when he uses it.
Yes, that'll do. I can't he gets annoyed every time he uses the camera. Like I can't see when you use that thing. That's not fair.
Let's see.
I need to be able to see in order to be able to fight in Leshire.
You know, it is kind
Oh, you have multiple eyes, don't you? I think.
I do have two eyes.
It is kind of funny. We have like a lot of like outside of knowing whatever Jasmine's gonna play, we have 3 people who are involved in the Feywild. Two Dragonborns that apparently like one likes to heal, one likes to do a lot of damage, and so it's this weird kind of like your party is very green in like in just like theme wise. I have some things I can run with this very much.
Oh,
Putting down notes.
if I may slightly backtrack to the positives for a second. Hey, Bella.
Yeah.
So I just thought about a bit of the positive connection that I proposed for Calliope and Leshire. That might actually tie into Leshire's backstory a bit better. So, for Leshire, he lost his previous group, so maybe he sought sanctuary/aid from the Fey courts for a bit, and that's how we know each other.
Probably. If you were received by the queen at any point, I probably know you.
If anything, let's go ahead and do this. You want to... once again, this is the time to ask some questions. And in fact, this is the time I'm going to ask you some questions, because this is more of a thing that you're adding into the homebrew world, Bella. So I want to know, when you tell me the Sealy Court, tell me what you would like to have from it, and what are some core things that I should be knowing about for the purposes of involving the Feywild. Because I very much... If half of the party is involved with the Feywild, I'm going to make the Feywild a thing here.
Okay. Fuck. Pressure or anything. Okay. I love the idea of storybook fame, you know what I mean? And D&D perfectly encapsulates the fucking mayhem that is storybook fame. And there's always been like there's always been like 2 descriptions of fairies, right? There's always been like the nice, pretty ones that are like they plant flowers and they live in trees and shit like that. And then there's the descriptions of the lesser pretty ones. If you guys are familiar with the movie Labyrinth, David Bowie.
Yes.
I imagine the Unseelie Court is like the place of the Goblin King.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Let me go ahead.
And then it's like the darker counterpart to the Sealy Court, which would be like the traditional Feywilds, where it's like nature and magic and prettiness and stuff like that.
Tooth Fairy versus Bone Fairy vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to, like,
My
move
character
some of this
specifically is from the Bone Fairy place.
from the bone.
Even though
fairies.
she's originally from the Sealy Court, that's why she looks so like naturey and pretty, you know? She's not like as kind of like spooky as the other Unseelie fairies or goblinoid ones. But she moved because of X, Y, and Z story thing that I will message Xena later.
Alright.
I'm sorry, I just got distracted by that face Zeno's drawing, and I'm concerned.
we go. I'm adding in like something for a certain someone who, as soon as I heard like the labyrinth, I'm like, okay, hold on, gotta like quickly add in little like.
What if What if we make him the Goblin King, but he just looks like David Bowie from the Labyrinth?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
It's just David Bowie from the Labyrinth. Please. Please.
Wait, no, it's just David Bowie, but with green skin.
I would do anything to surrender that man.
Okay, so do forgive me, but I forgot who I was positive connection with.
You
And
are
you could have scribbled
a positive connection.
I know it was with the cleric, and I know.
Yes, Barbosa.
Open world.
Oh,
Barbosa.
everyone, a good reminder, because I know some of you are doing that thing in your chairs. Rico paid for a posture check. Make sure you're not breaking your back.
I'm just hunched over,
Okay,
man.
okay, you don't have to like mention that. Okay, I'm kind of I got other things to focus on than having good posture right now.
It's okay.
Look,
It's okay. I don't know why. As soon as you said like, hold on. Oh, hold on, BRB.
Society,
Is
guys,
fake
it's
queen-
no longer a queen. It's David Bowie from the Labyrinth.
Well, I mean, why not make them both a king and queen?
Honestly,
One word?
yeah. David Bowie's like an androgynous
Yeah, true.
being from existence. He's just magical.
So anyways, Calliope, very important character question.
That's it.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, go ahead, Lloyd. I was just gonna make a joke.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, would faking be one word or two words?
Would be what? Would faking be
Like-
one word or two words?
Yeah, like, would it be like faking or fake?
Well, if we make them David Bowie from the Labyrinth and they're just an androgynous person, I would assume it's just like the Fey Monarch. So that'd be two words, I guess.
Yeah, definitely two words. That having it as two words rolls off the tongue. It's just whenever I'm like typing out fake queen, it's just like it rolls off like, oh, it's easy one word, yeah. But if it's Fey Monarch, definitely two.
Fey Monarch's two words.
For sure.
Also-
for sure.
What I was gonna say was, hey yo, Leshire would like to know if your king / queen and/or monarch is single.
At the moment? Yeah. But that's Calliope's spot. You better back the hell up.
Right, I'm
Okay,
not-
another
She's just-
important
she's just a
question.
major
Are they
simp.
polyamorous?
She's just a major simp.
Wait,
I feel like
what?
there's all manner of debauchery in the Feywild, honestly.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I know, right?
Probably. Honestly, like it's
That
one of those
seems like a
things where,
Fae thing.
It's like, welcome to the solstice. Okay, pick a partner and you're all gonna fuck.
I remember there was an idea that like
Partner.
so someone explained that goblins originally, like, at least as far as the older way goes, that goblins like were supposed to be viewed as thieves and stuff, but it stems off of the idea that like where they come from, sharing is everything. Like there's nothing that is ever like selfishly theirs.
Yeah. I like that one. I integrated that into my homebrew world.
Yeah.
'Cause it's so cute, you know?
Right? They're like so used to the idea
Like,
of
I'm not stealing, it's also mine.
exactly. It's also mine and it's yours. No, you're stealing. What? What's stealing?
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining Leshire having to explain certain Fae customs to people. She's not stealing,
Oh,
she
so
just
you
thinks
don't sleep
sharing is
together on
caring.
piles on the floor? Crap. Okay, it's gonna be hard.
Hey, Bella, your whole thing made me think of Leshire just explaining, no, she's not stealing, she just thinks sharing is caring.
What's stealing?
I'll be going around like a market and I'll pocket something and you're like, hey, pay for that. Yo, what? You mean you don't share this? This isn't shared? Okay.
Yes, it is me, Rico. I've returned.
I feel like by the end of this campaign, someone's getting adopted by Leshire.
I like that. Zeno,
Zeno.
could we make the Fae Queen instead to just the Fae Monarch in general? So it's just David Bowie, the androgynous form of magic that they are.
Well, so one thing I definitely like the idea of is what's over for. I've always loved, especially with what happened with oh my god, the word, the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. The idea that like these while there's domains of dreads, there's domains of delight, and these different domains of delight are where different fae can come together and have their own domain that they rule over. So the Goblin King is 100% has their own domain that they rule over. It's just a matter of how far that influence stretches. 100% is based off of their own innate power. Like the Goblin King, being this David Bowie figure, could be among one of the most powerful people and is very much androgynous. This is the form that they love. This is their best form. And,
Yeah, it's my favorite form.
I have provided you. I don't know if you're like, here's your bone fairy.
True. Zeno, important. This item of power, when it first surfaced to be like in the world, was it like heard of initially from the material plane, or
so here
it might have?
So your benefactor is
How
going to
did
tell you right. So your benefactor is someone who is, as we all recall, regardless of Cave Johnson, regardless of what's his name, I'm actually forgetting his name from Atlantis. They both were eccentric and just outright dirty rich. There was nothing that they, the very idea of something being way too lost or out of their grasp was a mere idea of that's just a challenge to them. So they went through every single channel possible until they found a glimpse of what could have been this. And this is less of its surface and a cultivation of their fundings, pulling together all of these different notes and putting the pieces together themselves, because they are smart in their own right. So this person has explained that he believes he found a way. So how do I put it? He is the source of this rumor. He is the person who, after kind of like what's I'm looking for, after Always Sunny in Philadelphia and a conspiracy theory and red wire, whatever have you, he's found a connection, and he himself is the one who begun this rumor and begun hiring people to go to this uncharted area. And while at first he, like, the idea is that 100%, he was like, money is no expense, sends a group out there. Shit, I think they died. I need to now think differently. I can't blow my money on paying for the best. I need to pay for people that I don't mind spending not as much money on as they would. So, voila.
Patina.
So we're like the D team.
You guys are the team that he very much would spend more money on your resources than he would on you yourself. So, while there's still a money flow that is the same amount as he would on the A team, with you guys, he can afford to give you guys an extra voucher for some extra equipment you want to get. Pay for a better ship. Pay for numbers rather than quality of those numbers.
You know, you mentioning the Cave Johnson figure. I just have a reason as to why he might have brought Leshire aboard. Sorry, my brain is a bit stuttering. So since he's old and was part of a previous group, he has experience, so that might be useful.
Verdi Barbosa?
There's
Verdigris Barbosa.
Into this.
Just do the whole name, yeah. Alright, by the way, Barbosa was my last name, I just couldn't come up with a first name, but now I got one.
Alright.
It's Barbosa.
Barbie Barbosa, maybe?
It's Verdigris.
Verdigris.
Would you like to be?
Which
would you like your character to still be referred to as Barbosa, or would you like your character to be referred to as Verdigris?
No preference. So whatever you want to refer to me.
It's actually your preference because it is your character.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
I would. A character. I'm Verdigris, so
Okay,
I would say my first name, Verdigris Barbosa.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I get a spelling on that?
Verdigris. Digris.
Go ahead and update your character sheet with it. I'm refreshing the page so that way I can make sure everything looks good.
Yeah.
Alright. Verdigris.
Yeah. It's actually the color name for the Statue of Liberty.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Hmm.
So, and I thought, because I'm a copper dragon, I think some, like, salt sprayed colored thing would be cool.
Look at this, by the way. We have, so you said Copper Dragon, right?
Yeah.
Copper Dragon, Emerald Dragonborn, 3 people from the Feywild who maybe have some hint of like green or Feywild coloring in their clothes. You guys are once again, you guys are a green team.
Green team.
Green team.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Could I ask if let's say my monarch's intentions weren't the best for the vault, would that be allowed?
So you want, so go ahead and let me listen to this again. Your monarch's attention for the vault itself.
Intentions for the vault.
Yes. Okay. The idea that, how do I put this? The vault for such patrons, for such people, is a myth. Even to those of high power, it's something that was lost to time. So the fact that your patron heard of this through like, I won't even give it spies, but I'll give it like people who have visited the material plane. Your patron has heard about this specific benefactor, and realizes that like with this means that he can finally get access, whether or not it's for malicious or benevolent gains. This is an item that has always been out of his grasp. So like, how do I put this? Because the vault, how do I explain this? This is the one time you are allowed to be selfish with an item, even as a Feywild creature, because it is an item that is specifically destined for you. So his curiosity is, what is the item that is destined for me?
Oh,
Kind of like a, if everyone's supposed to be getting something, what am I getting out of it? But there's obviously a lot of like confusion because your patron, even if they don't know it themselves, actually, let me go ahead and give you guys the myth of the vault, okay? So, the vault is once again a very, very powerful place. It is said that you can get your item, an item that is destined for you to be given here after going through many difficult trials. It is a mega dungeon in itself. It is a scary place, but the item is only given to those who prove themselves worthy of it. Your patron might be forgetting the fact that he himself, you may find the vaults, but that doesn't guarantee the item is his. He's thinking a lot with his wants and not with reality. So this is one of those things where, not even spoilers, but like we all know what it is to talk about things in character, and we all know what it is to talk about things out of character. Out of character wise, this is totally gonna lead up to something where like I can imagine your patron is a bit confused when you have to explain this to him, and when
like,
you get,
can't give it to you, but it's mine.
Yeah, what do you mean you can't give it to me? We share everything, and you have to explain to them that this is the one thing that you're allowed to be selfish for because it was an item that was made for you, not for him.
I can already feel the heartbreak. Yes,
100%. So like a lot of you guys, these items are meant to do something, and of course, it wouldn't be a big thing without nothing. It would suck if you guys got these powerful items and didn't have a fight to the end. This isn't to say that the Goblin King is the fight, but I have an idea for what I want to throw at you guys for your BBEG, whether or not it is the Goblin King or another type of like person who is also going after the vault items themselves. That is up to me to know. But you guys need to understand that like right now this is us discussing backstory as well as when I mentioned tone of the story and what to expect. Don't forget, this is also what you expect. What do you want for your character through the growth of the story? Because if you let your intentions for what you want your character to go through known, it will help everyone for story beats moving forward. If you tell everyone that my goal is to eventually grow, socialize, and become more of an outgoing person who knows how to interact with others better, that should tell people that when you are taking a step for your character and trying to interact with them, they should be able to tell, this is you trying to go do character growth. I'm going to help you with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me, what do you guys think your character? Where do you guys see your character by the end of the campaign? What have they changed their mental state? Have they changed who they're aligned with? What do we have in mind?
I can say that I hope to grow Leshire into getting attached and close to a party again.
Well, see, that more than anything, that's kind of expected.
I mean,
You go on a journey with people, and so it's expected that your character is this. Your character's goal can be group oriented, but that shouldn't be the end of your character, because what happens when your character has bonded? There's no more growth for your character. In essence, your character is completed. There was a quote from the DM Roundtable that I loved listening to with Matt Mercer, Brendan Lee Mulligan, and oh my god,
That was a legendary table.
yes, it was a legendary table, and it was the fact that Brendan explained that like your character, if your character has like no major desires and like just wants to live, you're done. You've somehow won D&D because you've made a character that has no growth available to them.
You know what? I thought of a desire.
What is that?
He wants to... This is a bit unorthodox, but he wants to make his own... So he wants to make his own card game.
There we go. Thank you. That is a desire that your character wants, and whether or not your character's goal involves their growth, that is on you to tell us. Do you see your character achieve, in order to get what they want? Here's actually a really good question. What boundaries would your character cross to get what they want? That's a really good way to establish like some stakes later as well.
I mean, source material that I'm plagiarizing from, my character, like, meddled in a civil war, kidnapped essentially royalty, planted a fake princess to bait that royalty into handing down the royal treasure. Just utopia things.
Well, I guess
Nothing like uprooting monarchies and countries to create utopia, right? Ends justify the means.
Yeah, the ends justify. Holy crap! Hold on, my cats are on crack right now. Let me quickly.
They got into the catnip, guys. Watch out.
Right. Okay. Jump up. Sorry about that, guys. Yes. I like what Skills put. What would your character do for a Klondike bar? But Asclepius, I love that you have a drive for this. But remember this: your character, as much as yes, it is heavily inspired by it. It should not be a direct carbon copy of this character. Obviously, as you go through your own stories.
Yeah, definitely not a direct carbon copy. But
Yeah.
Its initial motivations is we're gonna do whatever we need to bring about this utopia.
All right.
Hell or high water.
Right.
Despite the queen's interference or monarch's interference.
So then let me ask you this. Your character may be constantly yearning for a utopia, but rather than ask where you see your character by the end of the campaign, I'm going to ask you this. What utopia do you think your character would have changed to by the end of the campaign?
That's the interesting question now, isn't it?
It is. I love the idea of people's ideals being changed throughout the course of the story, because one person's utopia could be another person's dystopia.
Exactly.
That is a banger line for an EDM song.
Yeah, let's go.
I just remembered my guy's ideal, and I have a feeling we might come into conflict, Lloyd.
Oh, yeah. Bust it down for real.
That guy's all about not having tyrants ruling and everything.
I think you're also gonna have issues with me then.
Understandable.
Yes.
Fun times,
Um,
fun times.
I'll go ahead and DM you my character's take on Utopia, and then I'll let you and your character decide if that is antithetical to Leshire or if it's in line of sorts.
100%. So,
And,
I love hearing what
sorry.
I love hearing from what I have from you two so far. Let's go ahead and take a look. I haven't heard enough from Sulfarn and Barbosa. What is your character's desire? What do you hope your character's main growth comes from throughout the course of the campaign?
Well, I'm a person who likes to go with the flow usually, and I like making characters that also like going with the flow. The only thing I thought that was really something that like kind of struck as something I really like is the whole boundaries I wouldn't cross. And I feel like boundaries my character wouldn't like to cross is actually killing people.
Yeah.
And I understand we're going to be in combat, so some people will die. Those are people, but if anyone wants to not die, I would probably do the most in my power to make sure they live, like enemy or ally. It doesn't matter.
This smile that's growing on my face is totally not.
It's gonna hurt when someone dies on you.
Oh yeah, that could be a thing.
Well,
but yeah,
I love characters that achieve pacifism through any means possible. And obviously, there's a difference between like killing people and fighting people. Like, how do I put this? When I see this, do you understand the first character that comes to my mind is Gohan? He refuses to kill, even if it means saving the world, because of his delusional pacifism.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's like depending on, because I also kind of want to see Asclepius or Asclepius' character. What's your Lloyd? Lloyd. Thank you. Lloyd's like idea of what a perfect world is, because if it's in line of what I think it is, I'm kind of just down to be a character that like is kind of like I feel I was put on this world to help Asclepius complete his mission, or I feel like this is something that even like the gods want me to do, you know what I mean?
I can already see this too, because once again, you're a character who has a clear boundary that you draw in order to help Lloyd. Lloyd has boundaries that they have no issue crossing to achieve what they want. This is gonna be a fun time. Here, be right back and say my skills.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just slap in, I guess, notes, since that's a little more solidified. Like, the general ideal that Lloyd has for his utopia, at least. So, it's there for reference.
Yes. Let's see where we get to with this. Now, on to the second person who I did mention, Sulfarn.
Yeah.
Yes, positive and negative connections, that's another thing. You have to establish that. That's part of backstory, and that helps add into your fluff, into your roleplay. But where do you see your character's growth by the end of the campaign?
He always feels like there's more to what he's doing. Hence why he gave... By the way, I added a bit more to his backstory. So he used to be a gladiator. Like he used to fight every day. He used to win, lose, all that stuff. But he felt like there was more to just fighting every day, just fucking doing the same thing over and over again. So he went out on his own and started like asking people if there were other ways of getting stronger other than just, being a gladiator. And so they said that you should try adventuring. I mean, not that many people do it down here, but it's worth a shot.
I'm picturing...
So...
Oh, sorry, go continue, please.
So he 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 goes to see if he could. Well, he says, "How would I go about doing this? Well, how would I go about going on an adventure?" He said, "Well, first you need a group. You need a group of people in order to go at least go on an adventure." So he after about a while of like looking around, he finds said group, which is the group that he's a part of now. I still need to find a way of how that will correlate into Jasmine's character's positive, which I will sometime this well when Jasmine is available.
Yeah, of course.
We will talk about it, and then we'll get with you, Zeno, and then we'll
so
see how that works.
Here's something that's interesting that comes to my mind. You mentioned how do I put this? Who recalls the idea of stories of the character who wants to be the strongest, but they're already kind of just, to become the strongest is very much to find physical oppositions in your path and to stop them. But I'm gonna ask you this: what happens when your character comes across something that is a mental stop? Well, yes, it's super classic for dumb barbarian, me see thing, me can't solve puzzle very well, but it also should come across as maybe not even just mentally stronger, but becoming spiritually stronger as well. Some of the strongest people, especially in story tropes, are those who not only have the muscle to back themselves, but also have the passion or the drive behind those muscles to push beyond their physical limitations.
That's actually where I was gonna get to next. Believe it or not. But as when he finds the group and while he's going on these said adventures, he's realizing that there's more than just getting stronger than physical strength alone. Sometimes you have to be mentally strong and spiritually strong before you can declare yourself the strongest. There are other strengths that you have to have in order to get where you want to be. And so I feel like his goal at first would be to get physically strong, but then as time goes on, he realizes I have to get strong in these areas as well.
Okay. So we can easily rock the idea of this character who, for all intents and purposes, knows that there's so much growth that they have to undergo in order to become the quote-unquote strongest.
Right.
All right. And getting back around, because I know we had a fun little bit of Feywild build, but Calliope, tell me more about where you picture your character by the end of the campaign. What do you hope to have your character go through?
So she's dedicated her life to serving the Goblin King, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that she was born in one of the brighter courts, in one of the more seely aesthetic-esque courts. But her, as a baby, she was left on the doorstep of a Goblin King, and she grew up kind of admiring this kind of figurehead, and eventually she's a huge simp all around, the Goblin King fanatic. So when she kind of learns eventually on the adventure to be start thinking for herself, and being able to keep things, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because she's very predisposed to if she acquires something, she's immediately gonna give it to somebody else, or she's gonna she never keeps anything selfishly solely for herself, and I want her to be able to kind of learn to
what it means to
what it means to be independent in both mind and physical objects and stuff, because she's very reliant on the people around her.
Here's a fun thing I love. This is something that can reflect upon anyone's characters, but let me tell you guys this. We have these in the homebrew world. In fact, the previous Thursday group just encountered one of the 7 deadly sins. Do you guys know what's so interesting about the 7 deadly sins? Is that to be human is to be without any of these. To be human is to have some level of these. To become malicious and to become an actual sin is to have an overabundance of them. There is a level of greed that is inherent in most humanoids and most living creatures. Even down to something as basic as I want all the food is a greedy desire, but saying I want food is still you as an expression of your greed. Calliope sounds like someone who, as much as I literally said, what do you hope, what are your desires for this? It's almost like you have the lack of desire.
I want her to, like, eventually encounter greed. She'll, and, like, be confused and be like, why do I want this?
Especially
For
with, like,
me.
I'd imagine this is going to be one of those things where even the benefactor himself, someone who is a pretty good embodiment of, like, greed in itself, who wants this because it's like, what do you mean this is outside of my grasp? Nothing is outside of my grasp. That alone in itself is such a fun dynamic that I can't wait to see within the campaign.
I wonder, perhaps that intent feels like pride, but for somebody else. Because, like, it's obviously not envy. You don't want that power for yourself. But, like, an overwhelming sense of pride for the goblin. Like, if this guy doesn't have it for himself, I definitely have it for him. Wow, what an amazing person, you know?
And let's also add into this too. Some of you might, if any of you guys recall, the god of death, as well as, like, if we did encounter any of the other gods, no entity in this world is perfect. Not even the gods themselves are perfect. They have flaws. It's what makes them have their own domains. The god of death, like, as an example, one of his biggest things is that he hates he is entirely sympathetic for those that he takes away from life, and it is exactly that is one of his biggest flaws. He sees so much wrong with what his own innate power is, but he knows that it's a thing he must do to do it. He, in essence, doesn't hate himself, but feels such a sadness that he carries with him every single day for those he takes from. Just as the god of trickery is not all powerful. In fact, one of the biggest things that they literally got defeated by a goblinoid, by an almighty sin, by the sin of wrath, and eventually lost his powers, and only because of only because of the faithful did their essence still stick around enough for them to maintain themselves to the end of the campaign last session. I love the idea of the Goblin King, especially when you have this whole, like, what we already can foresee coming later down the line. He's not perfect. It's 100% like.
I mean, he's not perfect.
What do you mean he's not perfect? I know, Dave. I'm sorry to say, David Bowie isn't perfect, everyone. But it's gonna be such a fun thing when there's a line. Don't meet your heroes, kids, because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
That's such a fun thing when you realize it in essence what it can entail for a player character, let alone, like, as play. There, once again, you're gonna hear me, like, pull a lot from this, but I love the idea that your characters are always gonna find the fastest way to achieve their goal, but as players, you want them to go down a road that will force them to change and become a better person. So it's this back and forth fight that Brennan had explained. That this is I guess this is the fun part. We as ourselves as players can't wait for the struggles that our characters have to go through. And as characters, we don't want that shit. Almost no one wants to go through the actual change or the realization of, like, what life is really like or what your hero is really like when they're met with something that would cross your boundaries. So I always look forward to these moments in this stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to crying with you guys.
Exactly. Let's see. Okay.
We will all go through
I'm
a
trying to
bunch
think
of
of a
growth,
boundary
but we
for
will
my
also
goals.
all go through a bunch of pain. Just remember that.
Let's see. So we have a thing for. I'm gonna go through this one by one again, just to be sure I'm on a good page with you guys. Barbosa, your character very much is someone who has a similar desire to another character to have a world that's perfect, but the issue is that it's very naive how you want to go about this utopia, right?
Yeah, because my character doesn't have an idea of his own of what perfect is until like, because I'm reading Lloyd's description of what he believes like a perfect place would be, and like a place with like double the resources so people aren't fighting over things. It's basically the opposite of Thanos. I like that idea. Like, if people won't be fighting over things, there'll be more like wealth distribution, or like, so that's like the original. Like, if someone's telling me this, I'm going for it. You know what I mean? Like, it might not work out that way because, like, obviously, if you're doubling the wealth of stuff, you're basically belittling other things. It ruins the economy, really. But my character doesn't know that.
I can't wait for like the benefactor. That's great. What are your guys' ideas? I want a world where double the resources. Get the fuck out of my house. Okay. So yeah, I'm being sure I'm on the same page. I love that your character is naive, clueless, and has such a idealist mentality that when you get faced with quote unquote what the real world is like, it could force your character to go through some change that you maybe regret or don't like. Okay.
Yeah, because I have an idea that the world is bad. Like, obviously murder happens and like people get hurt. But I think the best way of going out at this is like people won't get as hurt as badly if like this is a thing. But yeah, I got you.
Mm-hmm. I'm right now reorganizing your name. Looks like it's fitting well into your little time area. All right, so I have that put together. Leshire. Just be sure once again I'm on the same page as where you plan on being. Your character has. I'm sorry, my mind just drew a fucking blank for this.
I have technically I have two goals in mind, which is his personal goal of making sure he and his friends' names are in legends, since his old group is important to him, and then the personal goal of making a card game.
I'm assuming the card game is up for your adventures, right?
His friends will be depicted in the card game, yes.
Okay. Let's see. Very good. This adventure obviously could bring some ups, some downs, and it's gonna be really cool to see what your character. In essence, I'm gonna ask you for a little bit of extra. Information. It's a little bit of extra homework. I want you to tell me about the one friend in particular that matters the most from your previous group, and I promise I will try my best to not break you like a twig.
They're gonna reanimate and you're gonna have to kill them.
Don't worry, I'm perfectly fine with being broken like a twig. It's a fun time.
Because I know where this character comes from, it's really tickling my brain in the happiest way. It's like, who is his favorite out of the other a-holes that he had to experience life with? It's kind of funny to me.
Who's the favorite a-hole?
Would you like a hint? Let's just say it's going to involve a lot of bones.
Oh, yes.
Alright. Making sure I'm on the same page right here. Lloyd, your character has a utopia that you envision, and realistically it is, very similar to Verdigris. Most people who have a utopia have some level of an idealist, but whereas Verdigris is naive idealist, yours is very... What's the word for
it?
Practical?
No, because he's like...
It is very impractical.
Yes.
I don't know.
Impractical actions to achieve the greater goal.
Yeah. Ends justify the means. And the thought is that if everyone has exactly what they need to survive and thrive, then there would be no reason to fight. Obviously, that's not the case. My character's a little bit too naive to understand, and maybe ultimate like lifestyle of the Fae as the Fae would you know, hang on, give me a second. I gotta put this into words.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
Please.
Seeing the greed of the Goblin King, Lloyd would believe that that is greed for bad. You know, why would you ever want to hoard resources when these people are very desperately in need of, you know, that resource? And that's where the contention comes in.
100%.
So being naive to the point that if everyone had access to what they needed to thrive in this world, then why would there ever be a need to fight? And that's like the idea of the utopia that he's in.
And it's this exact duality of someone who sees the flaws in someone else's hero, that, you know, when that hero banishes you, it's very much a group, how do I put it? Hey guys, I believe this person's bad, so you yourself should also believe that this person is bad. So, kind of adding into this, while maybe Calliope and Lloyd have this type of like inherent dislike of each other because of what they've seen, it totally, I can't wait to see what happens later down the line when, upon going through growth for Calliope, this could also be growth between the bond that these two characters have, especially after traveling together and realizing that maybe one another isn't that bad.
Yeah, especially when I am completely right. Goblin King too greedy for his own good.
Calliope's like, okay, now that I know better, I can fix him.
I can fix him. I can fix David Bowie, please.
I can fix him, please.
Oh no, I love it so much. That's gonna be such a hard. I can already like I'm visualizing this so
I have
much.
so many I can fix him characters. I have a problem.
Oh man,
I can fix
don't
it.
worry, I have a
I
problem
promise I
playing
can fix it. I
giants.
just need time.
the bane of collecting husbandos and waifus is the I can fix them
Honestly.
mentality.
All of them are toxic. All of them are toxic.
Okay. Okay. So far, I love this. Sulfarn. Just mean once again, this is also we're on the same page. I want your character desires to become stronger, even if that goal is a bit straightforward from the very get-go. What it means to get stronger could obviously change throughout the course of the adventure when you realize that physical strength isn't everything. Correct?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Ooga booga.
GTR, where are you?
I'm here.
So what was that? That's pretty on the nose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to be sure that we're on the same page because I'm putting these down in my DM notes so I can go back to these later down the line. And lastly, Calliope, once again, to reiterate, your character is in service to the Sealy Court. Your inherent adoration of the Goblin King drives you forward until more and more of these desires come to the surface. Maybe it could be something that, like, a scapegoat to be used is your time in the material plane has been corrupting you, when you realize that these aren't actual corruptions, these are inherent things that everyone should be allowed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, we hope to see a character that, while maybe still has adoration for who raised them and who took them through most of their life, knows how to think for themselves now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have all of that set up. We have you guys have your positive and your negative connections to add more fluff into your backstory. I would say that as far as like that little bit of homework goes, have something to me. Actually, here, the day before the session begins. So this means that, once again, Wednesday, I'm going to be taking a look and make sure everyone is good as far as having a good backstory. It doesn't have to be a long one either. For anyone who has a complaint is like, that's a lot of typing for me, you don't need to have a 10-page backstory. You can have.
What if I will write the 10-page backstory?
Yes.
Too late, I already wrote mine.
As the DM, I am lazy. I will not read all 10 pages, as much as that might make some players cry to know. I will skim through and take a look as to what are core beliefs of your characters and very important things, but I'm not gonna, oh man, It was a wonderful, blissful summer day in the Feywild. The flowers are blooming. The birds were chirping. No, I'm like, okay, you're from the Feywild. Thank you very much. So it doesn't have to be a 10-page backstory. That being said, it shouldn't be so basic as to, this is my character. They're a pretty cool guy and they want to get stronger. The end. Having enough for your character to grow and having the flaws are what help make a character. And I can't wait to see what you guys write to me, as well as what you guys add in for the fluff when it comes to your positive and negative connections. That being said, tomorrow, Sulfarn, because you agree that you and Jasmine are going to work together as far as the positive connections go, right? JTR? Oh no, he did. JTR's dead.
My mic was muted. I forgot my mic was muted. Yes.
Okay. And Verdigris, you plan on being her negative connection, correct? As far as like the one confirmed establishment.
Yep.
All right. Tomorrow, I'm gonna hit you guys up. I'm gonna hit up Jasmine tonight as far as what she needs to get done for just character overall, what to expect, and then if you guys could also DM her to let her know what you guys would like to establish here, and like give her a rundown as to like who your character is, what their desires are, and so forth, as to where you guys can imagine conflicts or positive growth within your backstories together.
Question for me:
yeah,
equipment or gold?
Equipment, always equipment, everyone.
Always
equipment. Your benefactor in session 1. Session 1 is going to be a bit of a slow session. It's obviously where a lot of characters are going to be introduced, is where your characters are going to get to know each other for the first time. And really importantly, it's a shopping session right off the gate.
Let's go! I love shopping sessions. I can actually buy my kids a weapon.
I don't have money.
Don't worry, because your guys' benefactor is obviously going to give you guys some good equipment. That being said, you guys are going to be boarding a ship. You guys are going to be getting your own rooms, and you guys are going to be at sea for a long time. But as far as in-game stuff goes, we're going to roll a d6 plus 1, and that's how many days progresses in between encounters on the sea before you actually get to the location. So while it is going to take an in-game month to get to the next isle, we're not taking that long. We're not going to do daily encounter checks at this ocean. At the very least, it is every two. At the very least, if we kept rolling ones, 2 days between encounters, and at the very longest, it's 7 days between encounters. So this could be a good way for like a few encounters, and not all encounters are physical combats. They can be something as far as challenges. Maybe you guys encounter some sea life, things that to do that are going to help bond your characters before I throw you guys into the meat grinder.
I love how you
throw me into
grinder.
Oh, I very much am looking forward to you guys going through uncharted territory in a unforgiving, snowy land. Where you guys are going, the reason, if you actually take a look at the world map, you are looking for the northernmost blue pin. That is the region, sorry, the overall continent known as Golkreta. And if you look at the northwesternmost part of the map, you'll see a lone blue pin with 3 towns or villages that dot the eastern coast of that isle. This isle is impossible to find proper ways to dock on anywhere other than where the blue pin is. And on top of this, the reason why everything is built on the eastern border of this continent is because those are the safest locations in this entire isle. You have to then traverse somewhere into the uncharted, not just because of its just confusing nature, but uncharted because of the very dangers that writhe and live outside of the region. So yes, it is a meat grinder. You guys are going to go through constant blizzard checks, constant survival checks against creatures that have adapted to this unforgiving cold land. I look forward to this. Now, this is the part where I'm going to ask you guys, do you have questions about the world? Questions about, I'm bringing it up again because a lot of you are involved in it, questions about the Feywild, questions about creatures or things that your character should know?
If I come across anything, I will ask you later. Right now, my brain is.
That is more
I
than
was
fine.
gonna. I
Will
was
we
gonna
be
say.
able to? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, please, Leshire.
I was just gonna ask if at some point we can discuss what wild shapes Leshire would innately know.
I will give you this. You are a level 5 druid, which means that your wild shape limit is, because level 4, okay, you can turn into creatures that have a swimming speed, a walking speed, no flying speed, and you have documented as far as camera gears go. We're going to play it like the wizard. You know what? At level 1, you start off with, we're going to do this where every level beyond first is 2 wild shapes, and at level 1 is 6. So because you're a level 5 character, you should have 2 times 5, 10 plus 6, 16 different animals that you have documented. And do you have like a collage book you store them in, or no?
I'd like to think he has like a little. You know how in most card games they have those little deck holders?
I
I'd like
love
to think
it.
he has a few of those.
I was thinking it would be like a big binder, like with all the card sleeves in it, and all like the pictures you've taken of them just slid in there.
Okay, actually, I want to go with Lloyd's idea. Big
Okay.
binder with slide-ins.
Okay, so you have in your vast binder. It's almost like a spell book for you, like it is a wizard, but for you it's a druid thing. You have a binder filled with different slots that you insert the animal images into, and these animal images are how you record your stuff. Now, this is gonna be very important because obviously, as soon as we get out into the ocean, you're gonna see a lot of creatures that have a swimming speed. It takes you a little bit of time to set up, so I need you, if you see an animal that you would like to document and take a photo of, you have to tell me that you are setting up to take a photo. That is something I need to be established because you have chosen this as your means of getting your wild shape forms.
That is perfectly fine. In fact, I'm writing most of this down in my own personal notes. Gotcha.
Carrot Cake says, "What about a dual disc for these wild shape forms?"
Goodbye,
I
goodbye.
play Pot of Greed.
No, that's not a bad question. That's not a bad question.
I summon your mom in defense position.
Oh my god. So, okay. Sulfarn, you had something you want to ask too.
Oh, right. So when it comes to like stuff that could help with the area we're going to be in eventually, like what's it called? Well,
Gold
no.
Creta?
The blue dot, or like the cold area we're gonna be in. Can we buy like stuff early and just have it on the ship?
So, you're referring to handle the cold, yes?
Yeah, but
Okay.
like what I'm asking is, if we buy equipment and we're not gonna use that equipment right now, can we like leave it on the ship for just in case we need to go somewhere else?
I will give you this.
Uh-huh.
The stuff that you're gonna buy, almost no one sells it where you're going because they don't sell cold weather clothing in an area that's not cold. So
Right.
after your guys' ship voyage, when you guys get there, your benefactor will have given you guys the exact amount of money to buy these 3 things: cold weather clothing, snowshoes, and crampons.
Crampons?
Do you all know what a crampon is?
No.
They are so
I know
snow.
Krampus.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Crampons. Okay. Crampons are is kind of like an attachment that you can put on a boot, which allows your shoes to have spikes underneath.
That's what those things are called?
Oh, what the hell? It's like Aglet all over again.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
know,
those were,
right?
I thought those were spikes.
Spikes
I
for
just-
shoes. They're things that hug the heel and the toe. Sorry, heel, bow, toe. Yeah, things that hug the heel and the toe of the shoe, and they allow you to now be able to walk comfortably on ice or slippery terrain.
Weird.
Well, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Um,
And snowshoes in general are like thick shoes that have enough padding as well as the capability of wandering through the snow. But you don't put crampons on snowshoes until you feel like you're about to encounter slippery terrain. Or, here's another good one. Some people like to use this when they're mountain climbing or climbing sheer areas, because you would have like something for your hands to grab onto, but what about your feet? You would then attach crampons so you can like dig your foot into the sheer wall and then continue to climb higher and higher.
Crazy.
Yeah, so cold weather clothing, crampons, and snowshoes, which, funny enough, those are actually in D&D Beyond, because when Rime of the Frostmaiden came out, they made these items that you can buy. So crampons are 2 gold pieces. Snowshoes are 2 gold pieces. And cold weather clothing is 10 gold pieces, meaning your benefactor will have set you guys a small pouch of 14 gold pieces aside explicitly to get those materials. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, you don't need to count those 14 gold pieces into your inventory because it's just assumed that you never will spend those or never dip into it because you need the cold weather clothing.
Right.
You saying I immediately have to draw cold weather clothing? Fucking damn it.
I'm a druid, so all I have to do
We're
is turn into a
sorry.
fluffy animal.
Wait,
Damn
Big
it.
L for
Base
goblin
clothing.
pieces.
and don't worry. So here, let me also give you this. There is a description as well for all of these. Cold weather clothing. This outfit consists of a heavy fur coat or cloak over layers of wool clothing, as well as fur-lined hat or hood, goggles, and fur-lined leather boots and gloves.
Yeah,
Interesting thing to know. As long as the cold weather clothing remains dry, the wearer automatically cedes against saving throw effects of extreme cold.
Oh.
Which you guys might be wondering.
Wait, doesn't clothing get wet in the snow? I don't know how snow works.
Not,
Other than, like, a
not
tropical
necessarily. This happens. Like the main way this is more referring to is like, in an already cold environment, the snow doesn't just immediately melt off. You would like have to provide heat to it. But in the case of I fell into a lake, and now that I'm out of the lake, my cold weather clothing is no longer good for this. So you guys might be wondering, what is extreme cold? So, a creature exposed to the cold must succeed a Constitution saving throw at the end of each hour, or gain 1 level of exhaustion. So, if you guys aren't properly equipped for the cold, there is a potential that you will die of exhaustion in the cold.
Cool.
That's like hypothermia, essentially.
It is. It's exactly that. And if you recall, as exhaustion gets closer and closer, you start experiencing more effects, such as disadvantage on ability checks, half your HP, half your speed, disadvantages on attack rolls and saving throws. That's the scariest one by far. Having disadvantages on saving throws when your saving throws are what determine you get more exhaustion is the twist in exhaustion, where it's like this is where it gets scarier. Then you drop to 0 speed, and then finally death at 6 points of exhaustion.
Why can't the vault be in a nice sunny place with
right?
margaritas and a beach?
Most cold weather clothing will be made of wool, which still keeps you warm even when you're wet. It should not be done regularly, but you can survive if you do get wet. Yes, it is also possible. There's a lot of stuff we're going to pull from Rime of the Frostmaiden that is going to add into how you guys handle this. So, let me go ahead and... Hey, this is a bit of stuff for us to talk about right now. Wilderness survival. Avalanches. Avalanches are a thing that can happen. An avalanche is a massive snow and debris falling rapidly down a mountainside. A typical avalanche is 300 feet wide, 150 feet long, and 30 feet thick. Creatures in the path of an avalanche can avoid it or escape it if they're close to its edge, but outrunning one is almost impossible. The way this works is that an avalanche is treated in the same way you would treat a creature in initiative, except it goes on initiative counts of 10 and 0. And on each initiative count of 10 and 0, it progresses forward 300 feet.
Dang, gets 2 actions? That's crazy. Such an OP. Such an OP.
When an avalanche moves, a creature in any space along it automatically falls prone. You have to make a strength save, taking 1d10 bludgeoning damage on a failed save for half as much on a successful one. You move along with it. So notice the big part is that you continue to take a d10 every single time the avalanche moves because you move with it. So it's up to the DM to decide when the avalanche stops. But when an avalanche does stop, the snow settles and buries each creature inside of it. A creature buried in this way is blinded and restrained and has total cover. You gain 1 level of exhaustion for every 5 minutes you spend buried in the snow. You can try to dig yourself out as an action, breaking the surface and ending the blind restraining conditions on yourself with a successful athletics check. But If you fail this check 3 times, you cannot attempt to dig yourself out again.
Oh my god.
So, what this means is, well, yes, strength is pretty good because it's the ability to get yourself out. I also rule that, hey, if your friend has gotten out and they're trying to look for you, any signs or hints, such as a really high perception check, would uncover you, and then they will do the athletics check for you to dig you out. Yeah, there it is. A creature that is not restrained or incapacitated can spend 1 minute freeing another creature buried in the snow. Once free, the creature is no longer blind or restrained from the avalanche. Good thing to know. Here's also a very intimidating image I've shown already in one of the other campaigns. But this is an example of what it is to encounter blizzards, and let alone the creatures that reside in the blizzards.
Oh no.
There's a reason why Yetis have high stealth in snowy conditions.
I fought one of them before.
Yes. Blizzards. Here is a good thing to know. A blizzard here typically lasts 2d4 hours, so a minimal of 2 to a maximum of 8-hour blizzards. A blizzard howling winds limits hearing to a range of 100 feet and imposes disadvantage on ranged weapon attack rolls. It also imposes disadvantage on perception checks that rely on hearing. The wind extinguishes open flames, disperses fogs, erases tracks in the snow, and makes flying by non-magical means nearly impossible. A creature falls at the end of its turn if it's flying by non-magical means and cannot hover. On top of this, visibility in a blizzard is reduced to 30 feet. Creatures without goggles or other eye protection have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight due to the blowing snow. Any creature that is concentrating on a spell during a blizzard must succeed on a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns or lose concentration, unless the creature is sheltered against the elements. So you can even lose concentration just from being in the environment itself. And then this adds into veering off course. It's easy to veer off course while traveling through a blizzard, and it's also easy for party members to become separated from one another, which is why the wisest course of action is to stay put and wait for the blizzard to pass. But if you find yourselves traveling through in a blizzard, you all have to designate one member as the navigator, and at the end of each hour traveling through the blizzard, the navigator makes... I make a survival check on behalf of the navigator. On a successful check, you guys stay on course and continue forward. On a fail, you wander off, putting your members no closer to the destination than you were at the start of that hour. If the check fails by 5 or more, however, and the party members are not tied together, one randomly determined party member becomes lost in the blizzard.
Fun.
Yes.
Fun. Can't wait.
Right?
That
Exactly.
sounds great.
If the group tries to reunite with the missing member, everyone including the missing one makes a survival check at the end of each hour. If the group check succeeds, the missing party member is found, but no progress is made towards reaching the group's intended destination that hour. So, this is part of what's going to make this campaign very long. While yes, on paper, hey, we have like a 20-day journey ahead. That 20-day journey, due to the way blizzards last, could extend by a whole week long, just because of the environment itself. We've already gone over extreme cold, and for those wondering, the average temperature up here is negative 45 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 45 degrees Celsius. Winds, chills can lower these temperatures by as much as 80 degrees, so it can become even colder. It is deadly up here as far as the cold goes. There's fishing, there's frigid water, illumination. The natural light up here is never brighter than dim light. In normal non-blizzard conditions, twilight extends from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Otherwise, it is dark until aurora borealis or a full moon appears in the sky. So hey, dark vision's gonna be pretty nice. If you lack dark vision, I am sorry. Dim light is the best you'll get.
Well, it's a good thing I think some of the creatures I can turn into have dark vision.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see. Then there's like other stuff that explains how like overland travel works and traveling through mountains works and so forth. But you guys kind of get the main point of the wilderness survival. With that being said, is there any further questions you guys might have?
I have, or I might be picking this one thing that lets me cast False Life at will. Are you cool with, like when we're not in combat, could I just get the 8 temporary hit points from it? Or like, because it's normally roll a d4 plus 4, but if I can cast it at will, can I just spam it until I get 8?
Just being sure, how do you cast False Life at will? I don't know the full extent of what your character's capable of.
Oh, so as a warlock ability, I get to pick what's the feature called?
Is this one of your what's the one for Eldritch Invocations?
Yes.
Let's see.
Fiendish Vigor. You can cast False Life on yourself at will as a first level spell without expending spell slots or materials components.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with that. It's assumed that you would be doing this once an hour because False Life lasts for an hour.
Oh, it does?
It says right there, False Life has a casting time of 1 action. It's a range of self. It has verbal, somatic, and material components, though obviously you're a cleric, you can just forego the material with your divine focus. But
Plus also the spell gets rid of that.
Yes, and duration is 1 hour. Oh, actually, funny enough, it actually doesn't consume it. It just says a small amount of alcohol or distilled spirits. It doesn't even have to be consumed by the spell. But once again, if you have a focus, then the focus bypasses the material component. But yes, it does say duration 1 hour. So if you're okay with, hey, by default, I'm gonna roll for my temporary hit points this hour, that's fine.
Okay. Alright then.
I have a question in terms of wild shape stuff. Am I allowed to pick dinosaur options, or is that off the table?
Dinosaur options are fine. Just so long as they're within the limit for you. You can't pick creatures that are greater than a half a challenge rating.
Yep, and I'm using 5e tools to look up beasts.
Oh, you don't even need to worry about that too. If you actually go to D&D Beyond, Game Rules Monsters, you can actually filter it as well. You can select it to only be beasts, and you can set the challenge rating to be from 0 to a half challenge rating, and then you can just start.
Yeah, I'm already doing that in 5e.
Alright, perfect. Does anyone else have any further questions? This is your guys' time to ask me, as well as remember, just like in school, everyone, if you have the question, there's a great chance that someone else might have that very same question.
I'll probably DM it to you later, but basically I'm going to ask for advice on setting Leshire's limits on his goal attaining.
Okay.
Does Destroy Water work on snow?
God damn it, making me fucking have to Google a D&D question again.
Like, it's a random ass thing.
5e snow. Let's see.
Oh, and I will say, you guys, I am choosing a lot of Beast of Burden wild shapes, so if we ever need to carry a lot of stuff, just let me know.
It's okay. So, side note, I always love this entire, little thing of, how does that interact with this? Spell specifically state... Oh, does the spell specifically state a state of water?
Ooh, does it have to? Here, let's see.
Because snow is technically not water yet.
Okay, you can create up to 10 gallons of crane. Alright, I don't care about that. You can destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container within range.
Alternatively, you
can destroy fog.
Yes.
Does that count as a snowstorm? No.
No, snow is definitely not fog. It is an entirely different condition.
Okay.
Fog is like
it's water. It's water frozen into a solid form. It just happens to be light enough that it's carried by the wind. Whereas fog is an actual gas. Snow and fog are all water, it's just different.
He's gonna say open container. I mean, the world is technically a container for us. But if it's a solid yes.
We don't need containers. Please, it's first grade science. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, no. Create or destroy water doesn't affect snow. It'll affect actual water or fog.
Okay.
I can barely remember middle school. I can't remember first grade.
What? You guys remember school?
You said we're going to cold areas, right?
Yes.
Alright, good to know. That'll inform my wild.
If I create water...
Fog is water.
Does it have a temperature?
If you create water, does it have a temperature? It's assumed that it's just kind of like room temperature, or...
Could I make it hotter?
Let me see. I will give you this. you would have to physically make it hotter, not by the spell's means, but by another means, by actual boiling or heating it up.
Got it.
So, oh, hold on. Oh, shit. Skittles just added in. So, room temperature at below 0. Time to make it hail.
Oh.
Though it does say
Hey, now you
water,
make
you have
snowballs.
to create it within open containers. So, you literally would create water and be like, all right, guys, drink. Why the fuck is it frozen?
Uh-oh.
I mean, hey, some people
Things
like
don't.
some people
Things
like,
don't flash freeze.
I mean, hey, you know, some people like crunchy nice.
Crunch me.
Alright,
Also,
listen. Alright, I do it on occasion when I really feel like not drinking whenever I don't have water around. I see ice, I chew on ice. That is what I do.
Hey,
valid.
that's fine.
Also, I just realized something. Hey, if any of y'all become mounted combatants, hit me up. I have plenty of wild shapes that work with that.
Mounted combatants.
My mount is my party member.
Nice. Oh, hold on. I love looking at this stuff. Do you mind? Side note, before I put this on, do you Calliope and sorry, Bella and Andrew, do you guys mind if I put your guys' updates to your character art on just on stream?
Oh yeah, feel free.
Hell yeah! Like, I love what you guys have going on for your stuffs right here.
Now I gotta add puffing padding to my shoulders and like collar, but yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Also,
remember, it's
Verdigris. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Remember, it's just alternative clothing. Think of like a video game when you have different skins for your characters.
Like
Oh, yeah.
he wears bug carapaces from the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Also-
cool.
Here, so long as you guys follow the rule of how cold weather clothing typically works, I have no issue with how it's designed.
But Calliope, Verdigris, why do I really want a hug from both of the characters? They look so friendly.
I know, right?
She's very friendly. It's just that her patron, like her guy and her magic, don't feel very inviting. But she herself is pretty jolly.
It's very much the void. The void looks to you and smiles. It makes some people uncomfortable, but for like those who actually understand, it's like, oh, that's a genuine smile.
Whoa.
I always love this type of stuff.
I have a feeling Leshire is going to be the I'm too old for this crap kind of guy.
Yes. You know, this is also some good stuff to be pulling up into the future as well. Even here, outside of the stream. Hi everyone, this is Zeno here, giving you all wonderful knowledge. Come the future, a reminder that if for some reason one of our party members is missing, if you are one of the subscribers, you will get a special role within the server called the Manny's Mercenary role. What this does is that you get to fill in a missing seat for a player that is MIA. In the event of too many people missing from the campaign, I won't have the campaign be filled with just Manny's. I do need at least 4 of my assigned player characters to show up in order for a stream to happen that day. But so long as communication is open and clear, it lets me know when I can get Manny's to help fill in the seats. So you can also get a chance to join us in this adventure. That also being said, there is some special stuff coming up in the future. I can't wait. Some fun things coming around the corner for holidays. But in general, we also have some things going around the server. We have some competitions, some community activities that we're going to be developing soon. Some art competitions, some little fun things to do within the Discord server. I am very much looking forward to having you all be a part of the community. You can hang out with us, join us in the general chats. I'm going to ask again of my players. Do any of you guys have any questions?
Okay, completely flush out the Feywild like right now.
Okay, let's go. All right. So anyway, so there's this thing called the Feywild. It's filled with a bunch of these fairies.
Filled with Fey.
It's filled with drugs.
Yes. Side note, I love that I actually love that hags are like Feywild creatures, and the whole idea of
I
like
know. I believe they belong to
They're
them.
Feywild creatures?
yeah,
Yes, they are.
hags are Feywild
Hey,
creatures.
Zeno.
It's the idea of a hag.
Witches.
One of the biggest jokes I love about this is the whole like, may I have your name? Yeah, it's blank. Thank you very much. You've now lost your name.
Real quick, just two things. What is everyone's class?
I'm a bard.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually 100% go over that, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Calliope, who just said they're bard. We know Leshire's a druid because wild shape. Lloyd has explained that they're. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Kinsey monk.
Right. Well, I think we have said what we were. Either way, I'm a level 3 cleric, level 2 warlock currently.
And Sulfarn
Mm-hmm.
is a barbarian.
Yeah.
And very fun fact. When we were working with Sulfarn's character stuff, he inherently just really wanted to be an Emerald Dragonborn, which is inherently resistant to psychic. And he is.
By the way, okay, before I picked which barbarian class I was going for, I didn't know that I would also be I didn't know that the Emerald Dragonborn was resistant to psychic. I thought that another Dragonborn was resistant to psychic. I just picked the Emerald Dragonborn because I really wanted to pick it. And so when Zeno told me that a specific barbarian, specifically the bear, what was it called? Zeno?
Totem.
Bear totem
The bear totem, right? When I picked the bear totem, I was resistant. He told me that I was resistant to everything except psychic. But then I realized something. I was an Emerald Dragonborn. I went back to look, and it was the Emerald Dragonborn that was resistant to psychic as well. So I'm resistant to everything when I'm in range.
Which that's just one of the cool things about this. Like, it's one of those things where, like, as a joke, we've always said, like, consider your health doubled as a barbarian when you're taking physical damage. But because you're Bear Totem Emerald, when you rage, you might as well be considered double your health when it comes to all combat.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You and I are gonna be kinda crazy because I'm getting this spell called Warding Bond. And I can do it on you. So what it does is it gives you 1 AC, 1 to your saving throws, and then any damage you take is halved, and it's split between us. Like you and me.
God.
So basically what you're saying is you're gonna quarter my damage.
Yeah. You're gonna have it, and then it gets halved again.
And let's not forget, Verdigris, on top of being a warlock, you chose Life Domain Cleric.
Yup, that's the one. So eventually when I hit level 6
You're not
cleric,
dying.
I heal you, and I also heal myself.
I'm gonna live forever.
So our party consists of tanks, support, and Leshire's summon army.
Well, let's also
That's
put this
true.
in retrospect. You guys have, yes, you have a barbarian. You have cleric warlock, which inherently that's D8 hit die, and that's someone who refuses to die and someone who helps them not die as well as the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Druids, I argue that druids are pseudo tanks because the way wild shape works. Wild shape has been rewritten, so when you wild shape, rather than replacing your hit point total, the hit points are treated as temporary hit points while you assume your new form. And when the temporary hit points drop, you're just taken back to your previous form. This is such a good way of explaining how damage carries over into your next state. And this is exactly what I mean by, like, furbolgs are pseudo tanks, because when they wild shape, they just add on to their overall health pool. So we have 2 forms of tanks. Life clerics are just generally tanky because they can wield heavy armor. Monks, while not physically tanky as far as taking damage, they can avoid damage all they want because they're very dexterous. And we have a Kensai monk specifically who can add 2 to their AC so long as they have their chosen weapon.
And you already know I'm buying a rapier ASAP as possible.
And of course, we have Calliope, the bard. The bard being one of the ones that is the best at buffs and debuffings and everything in between.
Indeed.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So,
which, you know.
Oh, she plays a lute, by the way.
Yeah.
Ring ding.
This is a
Also,
oh, sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I hope you guys like bugs, because I can turn into a giant spider and a giant centipede. I'm very pleased to inform you.
Can you do a beetle? Calliope loves beetles.
You know what? Just for you, I'll add fire beetle to my list.
Yeah.
This is a very cool part. I'm loving the way this looks. And on top of this, once again, we have physical damage, we have good spell casting, we have good we have good support. I think if there's anything to let Jasmine know for her character, what would you guys say is something that your party is lacking?
I think
We have support.
I would say
Um,
magical
healing.
DPS, but like
Yeah, I'd say a magic caster might be useful.
a range
but
caster. A range caster specifically.
I think we're pretty covered
First.
overall, but magic caster would be good.
Yeah.
But she played that last campaign.
Yeah, she just played the sorcerer, so she might be done with it. But I think if I recall her, she loves
she can
magic.
fill anything, really.
Realistically, she can, because we have Druid and we have Bard, who are two very heavy spellcasters. Cleric and Warlock are also, you're mixing in spellcasting with, like, here's my limited spell slots and here's my mix of spell slots. And Monk and Bard are both good DPSs as well.
And I will say this,
I
if
am
we all run
strong.
out of heals, I have emergency cure wounds.
Listen. I don't expect a party with a Bard, a Druid, and a Cleric to die.
Oh yeah. Especially since I'm also a warlock that also is a healing warlock too.
I'm gonna move
So,
on
like-
to Warlock as well.
Yeah, I'm the celestial warlock, so I get that extra healing light. So I have like pawns of like healing that I get on short rest.
Nice.
Not
By
to
the
mention my
way-
spell slots come on short rest.
Yeah, like, you guys have
We will
three.
not
You guys
die.
have 3 of the 4 primary.
If we die, it's just embarrassing.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, it's like, I love the idea. We've done it, guys. We've been able to heal from all physical damage. That's neat. Here's exhaustion. Ah!
Yeah,
no,
that is
hypothermia.
going to be our only that's gonna be our only problem. Exhaustion.
Nature, our greatest weakness.
Yeah.
Quick
No,
We
question.
Boy
may
Scout.
survive the fights, but we can't survive nature.
In terms of, so real quick, do we need to eat or drink in this campaign?
Yes.
Oh yeah, most likely.
Okay. Would you guys like me to take the spell Goodberry? Because
Yes,
I have a
please.
free
Yes,
spell
please.
slot.
You got
Yes.
Goodberry. I have Create Destroy Water. Together, we should be okay.
We're a whole meal package.
Imagine
pretty
when
much.
we actually get food after like months of just good berry and water.
I think
I'm going-
it's also described that Goodberry
Cry.
isn't it supposed to be like very just it's enough to sustain.
Bland.
Yeah, it's bland.
It's supposed to be
Hold on,
bland.
let me pull it up. I have it.
Well, I
Like
thought that
only
was-
eating white rice.
I thought that was
Goodberry-
a good one. Create
the
rations.
Goodberry
or
berry
something.
sustains you for a
It's-
full day.
Yeah, it's just like what I love, especially roleplay wise. Once again, everyone, there's such a thing as eating, regardless of how good Goodberry is. Imagine eating the same thing over and over and over every single day, especially knowing that that's the only food source that you need for the day. It can lead to very bland stuff, and I love the idea of your characters finally having access to a different food source, and you're like, like, don't get me wrong, I
Fuck
love
yeah.
Goodberry, but I want some flavor, I want some spice in my life, you know?
I'm pretty sure our characters has the runs like 100% of the time. Because no way, just eating fruit every
Well, the
single
magic
day
is free.
is healthy for your. It may be magical and it's magically keeping you not dead, but digestion-wise, it's probably not the
Oh,
healthiest.
hey Zeno,
Right.
I just have a bit of flavor for Goodberry.
Hmm.
So you know how Leshire has the wooden arms?
Oh, it
What if
grows
you
out of the
just
arms?
yeah, it just like.
I like that.
I just thought they just grow from the tips of his fingers.
Oh yeah.
You were gonna say something, Lloyd?
I was gonna say, I'll go ahead and spend some of my money to pick up a few packs of those 1-chip challenges, so we can definitely get a little bit of spice in our life.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Bring
would
like
y'all
a herbalism kit of spices.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have a herbalism kit and a cooking kit.
Hey yo,
I can cook.
So
good berries just not gonna be that bad if we just add some to
Oh, and
them.
then
I
real
also.
quick.
Oh sorry. Oh, go for
Oh,
it.
go ahead. I was just gonna say, would y'all like to see my wild shape list?
Oh, that'd be pretty
Oh
cool.
god.
It's in D&D General. Go ahead, Zeno.
Beautiful. I was gonna say is on top of this, yes, I do agree, Jake. This is exactly what I said in the beginning. Their party is very green. They have a lot of nature-based stuff. They have wisdom-based stuff. this party on top of this, even color-wise, we have Copper Dragonborn, Emerald Dragonborn, people from the Feywild of all different shapes and sizes. And in general, I just am visualizing a very nature-heavy party. That I love the idea that nature is the bane of their weakness.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
It's literally the only thing that can kill us is nature itself.
Oh wait.
And even then, you got a guy who can talk to nature.
Exactly.
Wait, I can talk. I just wait.
I am Leshire. I speak for the trees. The trees up here, fuck off.
No, the trees said they want to break your knees, and I'm obligated to follow.
I have speak with animals and beast sense, so that could.
I have because I'm a furbolg, I can talk to them, but I can't understand them back.
Oh.
So far we're on the same page.
Is there a god that's kind of like has the same ideals of what Asclepius' character wants to do?
I can pull that up quickly. Let me take a look at our handouts we have here.
And then eventually, I will. Go ahead.
I threw this Lloyd's tent to the notes page.
Let's see in the notes page. Let me go ahead and take a look at this. Alright.
If I need to expand a little, just let me know. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Let me see. Here, hold on. I'm gonna request Asclepius that you be on push to talk because I'm having your audio like chopping in and out. Let's see. As far as this, like a god who wishes for a utopia and stuff, because I imagine you're asking for clerical purposes.
Yes.
Right. So.
And also, I guess celestial purposes too, because
Yeah,
I'm
100%. Aola is the goddess of life. She wishes to preserve life in every single way possible. The perfect utopia is also like, you know, idealistically, I wish to create a world where no one, you know, naively saying no one dies, but realistically saying I wish to prevent as many deaths as possible. Would you agree to that at least, Lloyd?
Yes.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Would you agree that the idea of a world where no one dies or we can prevent death as much as possible is the part of the utopia?
Not necessarily. Death is a part of life after all, but like extending to a not necessarily a set life period. You know, like people aren't gonna go out and die. Accidents happen, but if someone were to live, you know, healthy and honestly, then they would live to a relatively healthy life.
Then how about Tempsis, the goddess of order?
Oh, that's the god I worshipped last campaign. Cool.
Tempsis, goddess of order, adding into this, we wish to make a perfect utopia where maybe not everything is perfectly in balance, and there is nothing that is inherently like bad about this place. Everything is as it should be, perfectly balanced,
as all things should be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hey, Zeno.
Yes.
What do you think of my wild shape list?
I had not taken the super in-depth look at it.
I can read it to you.
Hold on.
Alright, I'm going to call it for tonight because I do have work tomorrow and I feel really...
No, 100%, that's fine. This is session 0. I'm glad you were here for the main bulk of it. Once
session
again,
0.
Don't forget to add into your your backstory any fluff that you would like to add, especially because of the positive and negative connections.
I have added it in fluff. I did not explicitly name Calliope. Okay. I didn't name Calliope, but the the inciting incident for Lloyd's journey is there, along with meeting with our friend Verdigris. So
let's see.
I believe it's sufficient enough.
In That is again definitely like appreciated. Once again, I'll be taking a look at your stuff the day before the session, so that way if there's anything that we need to go over and finalize, we'll be able to do it then.
For sure.
All right.
And yeah, anyone has any questions for me as far as like this session or Lloyd as a character, don't be afraid to hit me up. Always on Discord. Yeah,
Yep.
I wish you guys the best of luck with whatever you do for the night.
All right.
Have a very good night, Asclepius.
Good night.
So, with that in mind, let me go ahead and put this up.
Oh, and I just want to say, I look forward to the potential tension between Verdigris, Lloyd, and Leshire, and Sulfarn.
I'm going to grab popcorn and I'm going to watch that unfold.
Yes.
Especially since my guy is all about no tyrants and basically he's about freedom.
Let's see. I think let me pull this up.
I looked them up. Most of them are either most of these are 1/2s or 1/4s with a few zeros.
I'm taking a look at this one right now. I'm trying to see specifically where this one is found in the book. I don't have an issue. The issue is that
like
the number 9 is a named one, so that's a very unique one.
Wait, it's named? I thought it was just the name of the species.
No, that isn't. Notice how it says Hongarask is a magical snail. Not
okay.
They are.
I can take that off the list then.
Yes.
I can find something else.
Yes. A lot of times you're going to see beasts in an array from different stuff. Like, for example, technically, one of the most powerful beasts in this game, if I actually sorted it by filter, is a small otter whose name is Traxigor. But that's because it's a spellcaster who polymorphed themselves into an otter. So it technically is a beast, but it's a named beast in specific. So that would.
I will say though.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to becoming a fiendish giant spider that's considered a beast.
Right. I'm gonna continue looking through your list right now, but Andrew, you wanted to say something?
Oh, eventually I'll be getting Find Familiar. Is it cool if I have an octopus?
Yeah.
I don't think I have an issue with that.
Alright, cool.
Alright, just real quick, Zeno, here's the new list. I swapped out number 9 for a sled dog.
Yes. Oh yeah. This one I don't have an issue. Fiendish giant spider. It explicitly states that these are a type of creature, not a named creature in this specific. Sled dog. That's very cute.
Also, because there was an issue with dark vision with some of us, I did Fire Beetle was also a good choice because they can shed light, and also the cranium rat.
Oh yes.
Can create light.
Cranium rats are definitely a thing that would be okay. You are a lone one, not a swarm of them. That's very important to note. Here's something that, for anyone who might be forgetting this, especially with dark vision rulings, I, for all intents and purposes, never actually read how dark vision worked because I just always saw it through the memes. So when I actually went back and noticed, hey, wait a minute, what do you mean dark vision doesn't just mean you see normally? Like in darkness, it explains.
No, everything's black and white.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was more referring to the fact that like it says, okay, yeah. So the way I saw it was that dim light was like, oh, okay, dim light is just dim light. I never saw it as anything other than just a flavor as far as understanding where the bright light extends from. Only to then realize that dim light. That.
In fact, I think Genasi dark vision makes everything seen as shades of red and whatever element they were.
Yes. Dim light is considered lightly obscured areas, which means disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight.
Oh yeah.
So it took me so long to realize, oh, okay, so dark vision just means that dim light imposes no disadvantage, and the darkness now has disadvantage, whereas people who had no dark vision at all just can't see through the darkness at all, which once again adds into this. But dim light is actually disadvantage. I had no idea this entire time.
Oh yeah, so your perception checks at night? Because like technically, when you're at a campfire at night and they're doing perception checks, unless the creature is already in the light, you are supposed to have a disadvantage on it.
Yes, but let's not forget this. Remember what I stated. This land is perpetually in dim light, if not darkness.
Yeah, we will always have disadvantage. I thought that's what you were telling us.
A lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no! Oh, no. That was before.
I understood
in,
correctly
yeah.
the misunderstanding.
Exactly. In previous campaigns, that's not how I played it. With the recent understanding, that's why I told you guys today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
So, yeah. What's up?
I was just gonna say, let me tell you, it pays to have dark vision, and I'm so glad I picked wild shapes with mostly dark vision.
Yes. Which actually, let me go ahead and head into this. I don't. Who doesn't have dark vision for this?
I
Yeah.
don't, but I have the spell light, which won't help 100%, but it's at least something.
Most of my wild shapes either produce light or can see in the dark.
I'm sorry, Kaliana,
Yeah.
you were saying as well?
I think I do.
Alright. So Dragonborn don't have dark vision. The bane of our barbarian. I can tank and hit everything as hard as I can, but I can't see it.
Can't see
it's like the
shit.
Winnie the Pooh meme. Hey,
To the left,
fucking
to the
eyes.
I might get the warlock thing that gives us dark vision, but that's going to be at my own next level if I do get it.
This is interesting to say the least too. Lloyd is changeling, which don't inherently have dark vision either, so half of the party can't see it. Can't see for shit.
My octopus, once I get my octopus too, it has dark vision.
At least the Octopus has dark vision, you know?
Hold on. I gotta find this.
Also, hey, Bella, I just imagined like Calliope doing like, come on, turn into the beetle. I can't waste charges on it.
Hold on.
But
I got
that's
it.
so cute.
I present to you guys what's gonna happen when Verdigris finally gets his familiar.
Oh, I love that! Please,
love it.
please.
Oh my
That's
god.
actually gonna happen, right?
I have
God.
so much interesting stuff that I have like planned with this thing. Like, because with Find Familiar you can cast spells through them using their reaction. I was thinking about having it, since it's an octopus, it can climb onto someone and just hold on to them. And then I can cast healing, like cure wounds through it.
It's so cute.
Wait a minute, I should add octopus to my wild shape table. I'll stick with what I have.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea
I mean,
if
you
you
can
want.
replace the
Like,
mule. You can replace the mule with the.
I mean, most of my stuff are either beasts of burdens, built for the cold, or could reasonably survive in the cold. Because, like, I think a black bear would fare at least a little bit okay.
If you're a sled dog, can you be like a Malamute? You know? Those are super fluffy and they're built
You know
to
what?
breathe
Sure.
They live in the cold.
I noticed how interesting these two were overlaying with each other, so I was like, huh, look at that.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
That's beautiful.
No.
It's amazing. Also, how do y'all feel about centipedes?
I hate them IRL, but like if you want one, no,
Well,
no objection.
Bad news. Guess
He
what I
picked
can
the
wild
centipede.
shape into?
He picked the centipede. It is number. Where is it?
It is number. It's number.
Not just
8.
any centipede, a giant centipede.
Wait, no, it's
Yeah, he
12.
picked giant centipede at number
I know
12.
that.
Here, let me actually pull it up. Giant centipedes are it is a centipede that is as big as a small creature, which in this case is like a bit as big as a small dog.
I feel
I'm
like
the size of a
giant
small dog.
giant is less uncomfortable than like dog-sized centipede.
I can, and then I'm a giant fiendish spider, which is a medium creature.
Well, hold on. That just kind of reminds me of the if you haven't seen it, there is a new creature that was added in Spelljammer. Hold on.
Giant space hamster.
No, it's actually
upside down?
much. Yes. But funny enough, Bella, because you are in the campaign, you have access to all the content I own too. So if you want to read through Spelljammer, you can.
Wow!
Yeah, I own. I think the only things I don't own is Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, Dragonlance, both of which are not out yet. I I think the only thing that is just lacking from my library is Stormlord's Wrath. And that's it. So pretty much it's just all of D&D's, all of 5th edition's content is available for you.
All of my shit is pirated.
What? Hush. What do you mean? We aren't
Okay,
pirates,
here's the
right?
thing. I'm
We
a
are
broke college
pirates.
student, and I want to play D&D. Okay,
No,
and I don't have
100%.
$40 to drop one book.
It is 100% understandable. Well, here, at the very least, have this. You have it on a website that you know is very well formatted in how you can go through the content. If you go through the search bar and type it, I'm guaranteed you'll be able to find it that way. And it's why your character creation options are also now available to everything that's in the books, because everything's there. I'm trying to find this.
Good news. Since we're in an oceanic campaign, I can breathe underwater by wild shaping, but I did take water breathing. So if you guys need to go underwater, let me know.
So,
Let's see. There
I will
is
keep
a
that in
specific creature I'm
mind.
looking for. ABC. Oh, here it is. That's why I was spelling it wrong. This is a creature that was introduced in the new Spelljammer book called the Megapede.
The Megapede? The Megapede.
How big is this said megapede?
Those are those are humanoids next to its face.
Wait, hold on,
Man, I wish
gotta
I-
get a closer look. Oh
why
my
does it have
god.
hair?
Oh, take a look at this. Megapede.
I wish I.
It is a creature that has a bite, which is 3d10 plus 6 piercing plus 5d8 poison damage. It also uses either, after making a bite attack, it uses Life Drain or Psychic Bomb. Life Drain. The Megapede magically drains life energy from other creatures nearby. Each creature within 15 feet of the Megapede may con saves or take 3d10 necrotic damage on a failed and half as much on a successful, because it just sucks the life out of people. Or Psychic Bomb. It targets one creature it can see within 60 feet. Make a wisdom save or take 5d8 psychic damage and become incapacitated.
I wish I could turn into it.
For those wondering, those are its babies on its back.
Oh, what an
Oh,
excellent
that's
mother.
adorable.
Oh, so that's a
Itchy.
that's a mom.
Yes. After a megapede lays eggs, it attaches the eggs to its body using sticky saliva and carries them into the back until the eggs hatch. Newly hatched megapedes
Aw.
grow to full size within weeks by consuming as much as they can, possibly including one another if food is scarce or scarce.
Christ.
It's just a baby. I love what Spelljammer has
I will
brought
burn
into
that
this.
baby.
I wish I could turn into a large centipede.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Yes.
Not even to this level, just a large centipede.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot, and I'm just so happy with like all the stuff that is here. I know, there was another thing that I loved. Let me pull this up. There was nothing. Ah, yes. Another thing that was added as a supplement, but not in the official Spelljammer stuff because it actually came out before, was the asteroid spider. For anyone who
Spider.
are lovers of spiders, look at.
I am
It's-
arachnophobic.
Oh,
I'm not looking at the screen right now.
Okay.
Come here.
yeah. Just
Okay, bad news, I can turn into a spider, so don't worry about it.
Mhm.
yeah.
Do not look. Just okay.
Yes. So luckily enough, everyone. Don't worry, it's already gone.
We
Bells.
fought one
You're
of
good.
It's
those.
gone. It's gone. You can look now.
Yeah. But yes, there are a number of good creatures. Plus, obviously, one of my favorite things is always reskinning creatures for the purposes of better fitting a campaign setting. In a Frozen North, sometimes a lot of the creatures, they didn't give us that many frozen creatures to exist. So I love taking creatures and just like slapping them with a, hey, they can survive in the cold now. So
Love that.
always good to know.
Wait, so are we an aquatic campaign or are we a...
So
Yes.
it is aquatic on the sea. You guys are going to be in a cold campaign going to this, and then it is going back to the aquatic for the vault.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of? I'm getting really, what's the thing called? It's the one with Handsome Jack.
Oh, I know what you're referring to. Fuck, Borderlands.
Borderlands. I'm getting very Borderlands vibes, and I'm loving it.
Yes. Cat
Okay.
claws and leg. Hi. Thank you for the acknowledgement that I need to give you.
It's a mark of love.
Okay. Asking this once again because I want to be sure we're all good, and if there's anything that's ever been popping up, did you guys have any questions right now?
Nope.
It can be for the campaign. It can be for the setting. It can be for your characters.
And I marry the Goblin King.
Can I marry the Goblin King?
If you like
No!
it, if you like it, then you need to put a ring on it.
Could we
Yeah.
all marry the
She's
Goblin
trying.
King?
She's
out
trying
of
her hardest.
spite?
She's been trying for so long.
Alright, I'll settle for like a nice dryad.
A nice try.
A nice tree to settle with. Also, I think one of my questions that can be answered later, that is that I need help defining Leshire's limits with his goals and such of getting his friends' names and legends and making that card game.
See, I also love what Carrot Cake also asked, "Can I marry the Goblin King?" And then you have Jake all of a sudden, non-monogamous relationship with the Goblin King.
Okay, approval. I can be in a non-monogamous relationship.
Hey, Calipy, you could say, we're all in this
Oh my
together.
Oh my
God.
god.
I'm trying to think.
How did I not see that coming?
Let's see. So far we're good. I'm gonna try to make sure, keep an eye out for beasts that you might change into.
I just thought of a threat Leshire can make. Nature is brutal, but I'm worse.
Actually, here's a good question I would like to ask of my warlock players. Whether or not you plan on becoming one, or you currently are one. Verdigris, because you currently are one.
Yo,
Who is your patron to? Is it the god themselves?
can it be the god themselves? I don't know how Celestials work exactly.
So let's go ahead and pull up the warlock stuff, which also is going to lead into me asking Calliope about like their patronage and stuff. But Celestial, your patron is a powerful being of the upper planes. You have bound yourself to an ancient Empyrean, solar, Chiron, unicorn, or other entity that resides in the planes of everlasting bliss. Your pact with that being allows you to experience the barest touch of holy light that illuminates the multiverse. Being connected to such power can cause changes in your behaviors and beliefs. You might find yourself driven to annihilate the undead, and so forth, but that's not what I want to know. I think what this tells me is, you can make your patron the deity. You can have it written to your backstory how your devoted faith led to them coming to you and actually forming a patronage. So you have this weird patronage devotion to them deal going on. Or, if you'd like, you can also bound yourself to a servant to the god themselves.
Okay. Honestly, I'll leave it up to you. I personally thought like a servant of the god, but it could be the god itself. I just want, like, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is your fucking character. You said all I heard was you imagined it was a servant, right?
Yeah.
It is now a servant of the god.
Okay.
Hey, Zeno?
Yes.
This is a mechanical question. So hypothetically, if you cast a concentration spell and then eventually wild shape, does that break concentration, or does it only break when you're hit?
No. When you wild shape, the concentration is still there, but you can potentially break it.
Okay. And then
I was gonna finish up the Verdigris.
Okay.
So, you had the idea that this is a servant, or I guess a direct worker of the god.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and I want to hear this a little bit further.
Flesh him out.
Yeah. Let's hear it. So this, welcome to session 0, everyone. Here's what we're talking about, fleshing stuff out. This is why our lovely chat is here to be able to watch what is the blossomings of our characters talking about our characters.
Okay.
You want to be someone who was devoted. So this makes me think that your devotion led to some level of attention that your character obtained, though not directly from your deity. It was from someone who sees greatness within you, or maybe they themselves are a conduit for your deity.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
I like the idea of conduit. Like, it was sent here by the deity, but it's like it itself is on an objective, which is like almost like how God has like not Michelangelo, like his angels, right? And he sends his angels to do his bidding onto Earth, type of thing. Almost like that.
Okay. So an angel who has a different objective is here, and you assisting them is assumed that you're assisting your god, or at least that's what your own ideals believe you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, I'm sorry. For some reason, when I heard, it's kind of like when God sent, and I was like, and when you said Michael, I was like, Jordan? What?
No.
He believes in the lie. Yeah, exactly. Like, what? My mind went there for some reason.
That's so fucked.
Okay. So, I can't wait to hear how you develop that further, especially how you met your patron. But here's another thing to always remember, everyone, especially Warlock players. Your patrons ask something of you. It's not enough to just, here's power, have a good one. Sometimes it is. There is always the chance that it is a patron who doesn't really want anything from you. But patrons typically ask for something in return. So what are you giving for this power? Besides your devotion, because that's already expected of you.
It's expected of me? Devotion is never expected.
Oh, no. Your devotion to the deity that both of you worship and work for is expected. But it's not like you're not devoted to your patron. Your patron and you are both devoted to them, and so you and your patron have formed a pact. You know, this is your chance to think about that for a bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna need to start saving gold for my summoning spells.
Which, now I'm gonna ask Calliope, you plan on becoming a warlock. What warlock pact do you plan on making?
Fae.
Fae, okay. So
yeah.
the Archfey. Are you assuming to make it to our daddy in the forest?
That's right. The forest father.
So, just being sure I'm on the same page. Goblin King, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you were essentially sent here. What I'm going to ask is this then. At some point in the campaign, I'm going to integrate him into the campaign. What level were you planning on taking Warlock?
I'm thinking of... Okay, wait.
Because right now you're someone who's working with talents, correct?
Yeah, I'm working with talents.
Okay, so you're level 3.
Yeah.
Do you plan on taking Warlock as your 4th level, your 5th level, or somewhere even further down the line?
Actually, I might take Warlock now. Like when we level up next.
Okay.
For 4th level. And save the talent for when I'm ready multi-classing. Because the talents that I want, you have to be level 3 Bard and Warlock in order to acquire them.
Okay. So right off the bat, that means that by the time you actually hit 3 and 3, that's level 6, which, that's just in time for the next talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember this, everyone. For my players who are playing with talents, if you plan on taking talents or you plan on withholding your talent, you can withhold a talent all the way up until the level before your next talent. So if you're withholding your level 3 talent, you have to spend it on either level 4 or level 5, but not 6 and beyond. As an example. Okay. If that's going to be the next one, that gives me an idea as when to throw it into you. It's probably going to be something we're going to either encounter on the ship or when you guys arrive at the next location. Because I very much want you guys to feel a certain someone help me understand the joys of a slow burn of a campaign. So I want you guys to really understand that when I say milestone level ups, these are actual milestones that you guys will get level ups for.
Hey, Zeno? Would it help if I gave you... So, for the former party of Leshire, would you like me to write up a small description of his former group?
That would actually help out a lot.
Alright. I will add that to the list.
Alright. So we have Warlock stuff set up for multi-class.
Could my payment be a repercussion? I guess? Like, if I don't succeed in my task, I will actually go to hell. Like, regardless of how good I am.
I can see this. Would you be okay with your patron... Once again, your patron is a conduit for your deity, and thus, because they're a conduit and not the deity themselves, they have a different ideal as to you being blasphemous, we'll give it. This way, it creates an interesting dynamic later down the line when you and your patron, at any moment, maybe you failed the task, but it creates a kind of like character growth moment that like you have to like actually tell your patron why their judgment is wrong.
So like argue your case in court.
Yes.
Potentially.
If the assumption is that when you do wrong by them, or when you fail to do your task, they automatically sentence it to you, or you being someone who typically goes with the flow would actually provide a form of objection to the thing, even though yes you did fail the task, you provide an argument that actually like almost like no bitch, you listen to me, this is what actually happened and this is why I technically did not fail it, because I was in a situation where I could not succeed.
I don't really know what you're saying, but I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, we'll work with that.
Let's go with that.
Okay, we'll go with that. Which then takes me to Calliope. When you do actually form this pact with your patron, which we both know who it is, what is it you think that we actually are going to be expecting from this type of pact?
I think he... Okay, here's the vibe I'm going for, right?
Okay.
So I go into the campaign already like a devoted follower, right? And I start wavering on my belief of like, hey, maybe I have thoughts, you know? Maybe I can make this decision by myself. And then I express this to my patron and I'm like, hey, can I have this? And it backfires. And they're like, hey, this isn't... You're being corrupted by like the outside world on this mission. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do to make up for it? So I make the pact, essentially. And then they make a move.
Okay. This is gonna sound extremely awkward, which, by the way, wonderful work on the colors, by the way.
I agree.
This is one of those things where... How do I put this? Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This almost sounds like the patronage is formed of an abusive relationship. A little bit. Okay, that's what I want. I want to be sure we're on the same page.
I don't know what's the correct answer here.
Yeah, I want to be sure we're on the same page here. Not the correct answer, but like your patronage is less of a he's expecting something of you and more like a he's trying to get you back within line.
He's trying to, he controls me, essentially, you know?
He wants you to still stay the, I'll use the word humble.
Little faithful servant.
Exactly. You need to stay my little faithful servant because that's the way this is. That's the way our relationship works. And it's one of those things where, you know, story-wise, I can't wait to see how this works when a warlock accidentally goes against their patron.
Yeah.
So.
Can't wait.
This is gonna be fun. Yeah. Hi everyone. Welcome to our campaigns.
Haha. You know, in my other campaign, I'm exploring a very tumultuous relationship with my father figure, which is also a player.
Oh my god,
so
that's
there's
so
a lot
great.
of strength there.
Is that that's what that? Oh my god,
that's for talking XP. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love seeing his little positivities on Twitter so much. He's such a good being.
Yeah.
Look at what Skills just said.
She was never a warlock. She had true power from herself, just gaslit. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plot twist, she's actually a sorcerer.
It's I don't know why this gives me this gives me such fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Soul Eater vibes, where like Rukia unlocked Ichigo's power within him and he didn't actually realize the power was from himself.
I kind of want to go for that. I gotta not lie, man.
Okay, so here.
Like why he's so in control of her specifically, because like there are a bunch of Wildland Wraiths, you know, that's what they call his like brigade, right, of like lady warriors.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them, but she in particular is kept under such a tight leash, and I want to know why. But she doesn't know, so I won't know. So like you keep that a secret to yourself.
100%. I think what I'm gonna do is this. This is something more as a food for thought thing than anything to actually plan for, but I need you to think of when later down the line comes do you wish to still, even if you find out that the powers were within you and it's something that he unlocked, would you like the powers to stay within that of the realms of the warlock, or would you like the realization that the powers are of your own for a warlock class change?
I'm okay with either, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Once again,
I'm okay with either.
Yeah. Once again, this is food for thought. This is something for you to, like, as we play through the campaign, you'll probably be able to more redefine your answer. So the idea is that, while yes, you're a bard, the warlock within you, as we get later through the campaign and you eventually go through this character growth, we can either do one of three options. One of which is you just still maintain your warlock powers. It's just you realize that you have it within yourself. B, it turns out that the warlock stuff.
I am my own patron.
Exactly. B is that the warlock powers transfer into your bard powers, thus boosting you in bard levels in all the levels that you've been taking in warlock, or vice versa. The warlock powers unlock themselves as a form of, like, sorcerer or another class, where all of those warlock levels are foregone into that class. Which, by the way, for anyone wondering, I love character growth being represented in class changes. For example, Andrew.
I
know. Andrew did a thing where he originally was an artificer, and the idea was that he made a deal with a hag, with Baba Lysaga, specifically for power and knowledge. So his barbarian character, like, backstory-wise, turned into an artificer. But when the deal was broken and undone, his artificer character, the personality of Roger, the artificer, was still within Rodney somewhere. When Rodney came back, the barbarian, but it was kind of duality thing where Rodney the barbarian, there was a side of him that existed that was always smart, and it was very intellectual and analytical. That was Roger. So we had this whole thing throughout the course of the last campaign where, as the two dualities met and conflicted more and more with each other, eventually there came a point where the two formed into one, and it was no longer a barbarian and no longer an artificer. It was an Eldritch Knight fighter. That was.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it was
so
one.
cool.
It was one of the most. It was probably one of, like, the coolest character things that I've ever seen happen in a campaign, and I love doing that so much.
I will say this as a slight. It's actually, that was one of the things that inspired this possible decision. Depending on how things go and how Leshire grows, if things get a bit grim, he will probably be going into Bloodhunter more than Druid.
All right. This is gonna be really cool.
And then
one of the things I like is, like, because, like, I don't like planning stuff out, because that whole thing, and especially his name being Journey, was like completely random. Like, it did not, like, that name literally, the day you were like, hey, are you thinking about, like, changing and, like, becoming, like, one with something? And I was like, I don't know. And then, like, I thought about it for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I could use the name Journey, because it'd be like Roger and then Rodney and then do the jur and the knee and, like, combine that.
Word play.
Yeah,
And I was
it was 100%. I was like, this man is Giga Brain for this, and then you're telling me, like, oh shit, that just was an accident.
Yeah, no, dude, that was 100% that. Even the name Roger was an accident because I wanted him to not know his name. Because, like, he gave up his memories for intelligence, right? So, like, when his name was his name wasn't actually Roger to begin with. He only looked at the rod in his hand and was like, Roger.
Damn.
Like, that was his original basis of the name, and it just, like, oh, it'd be. And then when he became the barbarian again, I thought, like, oh, it'd be funny if, like, oh, he did randomly get part of his name right, so then I put Rodney, like, because I was like, that's another thing that has Rod in it, and then I was like,
No.
it just all kind of, like, sprang from that, but it's because you give us good opportunities to grow, and I'm just someone who likes to, like, go. I'm like water, man. I just go with the flow, and I'm I'm someone who, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, oh yeah, let this be a thing.
If there's anything I would always love to come across with my session zeros more than anything is, I like as much as, yeah, we've talked about, like, what you expect for your character. This is something in animation that I love, For those, here's a fun fact about animation, everyone. When it comes to motion and in animation, there are two ways that people animate things. One of which is called pose to pose, and the other one is called straight aheads. Pose to pose is you know how the animation will end, how it will begin, and maybe you have a keyframe in the center, and then from there you work in between those frames until it forms a cohesive story. And straight ahead is less practical in full body animations and more in effect animations, where you go one frame into the next, as a straight ahead animation could lead to something that is entirely distorted from its original form. I love the idea of using this as what we'll call pose to pose character development. You know where your character will begin, you know where your character will end, but the middle is what we make using Dungeons and Dragons.
Also, I'm sorry, this is a threat. Grandpa's gonna be adopting some of y'all. You don't have a choice. I'm kidding. Mostly.
You're all about freedom, right? And you're like, hey, maybe it's a bad idea, and you should leave him.
So,
if you don't want to leave him, put your foot down more.
I kind of like those descriptions of the animation thing, because like I feel personally I'm a bit more of a, like, what was the second one you said? Yeah, straight ahead, because like I had no clue where Rodney was gonna go when I first made him. I was like, no clue where I was going this to end. But like, yeah, I didn't care. I just was there. I was just there for the journey, baby.
I was just there for the journey.
So
I was just here for the journey, not the journey with the J, but journey with the G.
Like, here's it realistically is like, so fun fact for anyone who didn't know this much about me. I took animation for 3 years in high school because my high school actually offered it. And then from there, I hope that as I have more free time with, you know, certain things that have been happening in life, I can pick back up animation. I would love to do little things, and of course, you know, collaborate with some pretty cool artists. Not like we have any of those around. And
I
just
can't
you hire some.
I know, right? And exactly that. For those who might have heard about this as the weeks have come, I want to use free time to grow upon the Xenolich, not just myself, but as a brand, and show that this is an entire community where we celebrate creativity in all shapes and forms and sizes. You guys are by far my favorite part about doing this, and this is just not just to you, my players, but you guys, my audience. The original reason why I started streaming is because I love retelling stories, but the issue is that A, every time I retell it, the tale gets a little bit longer, or B, I end up forgetting a little bit of the journey along the way. So, this is why we're here. This is why we create content for Dungeons and Dragons, because we love sharing stories, and we love looking back and seeing who we were when we made this stuff. And yeah, I can't wait to eventually get to the point where I will help, you know, where I will apply for a business, use business expenses, and eventually pay for full-time artists, providing not just jobs within the brand itself, but giving people the ability to get paid for doing what they love, whether or not it's whether or not it's future collaborations with other content creators, whether or not it's paying people to provide different types of merchandise or stuff for this, or, you know, once again, being able to provide a system where I can allow people to host their own games within the channel themselves as a team, rather than worrying about trying to struggle through the world by yourself. So enough about Mushy Gushy. Back to breaking my players' hearts.
We love you.
Yes.
You are all great, and we are appreciative of your time.
That's right.
All right, real quick before we get back. I love all of you. You all are amazing. I am glad to have joined this, even though I joined fairly late in the original Thursday. I'm glad to have started this with you guys.
I'm
Anyways.
new.
Yes, Bella's the new one. She's the babble.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna get adopted really quick.
I'm just the veteran that came out of retirement.
I've been playing D&D for a good chunk of my life at this point, so it's always fun to experience new campaigns.
Actually, yeah, tell like, you know, if any of you guys want, this is, you know, Session 0, we aren't expected to do a lot of story here, other than just kind of laying down the foundation for what we're doing. Yeah, allow me to just get the floor wet again. My name is Ian Lich, or my real name is Christian. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since about 2014, and it started with me and my friends, literally one DM and 2 players in a rotating schedule, and just doing all types of different fun things. And ever since 2020 is when I actually started to seriously focus on live streaming the content for it. And so I've been having a blast streaming Dungeons and Dragons content for the past 2 years. Bella, you also had a little bit of D&D experience. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about?
I've been playing D&D for 6 years now, and I was a DM for a good 3 years into that journey in the beginning. And I played in multiple different campaigns so far. Only this year, however, I actually started joining like D&D content. I didn't know what people actually made streams besides like Critical Role or something. I didn't know there was like an actual like community around Dungeons and Dragons streaming like online. So I applied for a bunch of things. I got rejected by a bunch of things, and then I got into a podcast, which I am no longer part of, but you should still check them out. They're called Travelers of the Multiverse.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Super fun. I played Vanya Elenfera, and she was like a monk. Now I am on Talking XP, which is another Twitch channel, and we play Curse of Strahd, Ravenloft Misfits. And I play a tiefling there.
I want to play Curse of Strahd so bad.
It's so metal, man. Holy shit. We had this fight the other day, and this corpse was laying across like this table, right? And we were fighting and stuff, and the corpse gets launched across the room for whatever reason. And one of the player characters slices, and his face comes off.
I love Curse of Strahd so much. It's one of like it's one of like 5th edition's like gems of the edition itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like horror.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I got Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I got like a taste of Curse of Strahd, but then the campaign had to come to an end due to, sadly, scheduling conflicts, which I understand. But man, I got a taste of it, and I want to play it more.
Well, hey,
It's so fun.
This is another one of those shoutouts, everyone. But hey, if you also are one of the Manny's Mercs, on top of being able to fill in roles, we're going to be beginning a new thing in the coming future where we are going to be able to do one-shots. You're gonna see a few things add onto this channel where we're gonna do one-shots and we're gonna do variety content. I want to do more tabletop stuff, not just in Dungeons and Dragons, but in general. Like, I love 40k, I love card games, and I want to be able to
Call of Cthulhu?
add on to this. Yeah, 100%. And to add into this, part of this is giving you guys, the community, a little bit of love. So if you're one of the Manny's mercenaries, every so often you will see a ping that will inform you that we are gathering players for a one-shot. Manny, it's a Manny's Mercenary exclusive, so only subscribers to either the Patreon or the Twitch channel will have access to it. And yeah, we try our best to at least do a first come first serve while also giving a healthy rotation of people. So for example, if 5 people just got into it, I try to push those people into the bottom of the queue rather than the top of the queue if they just were recently a part of it, because that's very unfair to everyone else who subscribes to have access to said content. One called Only Mans, yes. I'm looking forward to it. The one shots are gonna be pretty cool. We'll be doing some stuff probably from Candlekeep Mysteries. We'll probably be doing some stuff from the oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for? Ghost of Saltmarshes also has some fun stuff for this. There is the newest one that dropped, Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, has some gems of fucking adventures within them. And there's also one that we did a long time ago that is going to be a well-awaited return called Dungeon of the Mad Mage, where we actually will have people who get isekai'd into the world's most infamous mega dungeon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the idea is that you yourself are playing as you, as though you've been transported into the world of the Forgotten Realms, where you go through a mega dungeon that's filled
My
with all levels of
constitution would be
madness.
-7.
Alright. No, luckily enough, you don't have to worry about that. It's still like you get like an actual stat roll, but like mentally you are yourself.
Hey, Zeno,
Hmm.
I can tell you what my stats would be. My charisma is either a 1 or a 20 at any given time, no in between.
Yes. So.
Also, real quick, you mentioned Candlekeep Mysteries.
Mhm.
I'm actually running. Fun fact: Candlekeep Mysteries was not my first campaign, but it's what got me back into D&D. And I'm currently running the one shot I got introduced, which is Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces on Sundays.
Yes, Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces is a really good example of how to do a level 1 adventure. It's really fucking cool. On the opposite side of this, I did the last one, Xanthoria, on stream, and that was such a fucking fun one to go through. But that was a little bit of me hogging the spotlight. Andrew,
You deserve it.
Soda, JTR, do you guys have anything you want to add in to let the audience know about your experience with tabletop?
Go ahead, Sulfarn. I want to hear what you have first.
Tabletop as in, like...
Your journey through role-playing.
Oh. Like previous campaign stuff. Like what I used to do.
Yeah.
Through my time as playing multiple Goliaths, I usually used to run around as a monk, and I ran around once as a cleric before I had to go on hiatus for about 2 weeks. But I would say that I would say that it was pretty fun doing a bunch of stuff as well. I want to say that like playing the cleric was probably one of my better campaigns, because one of the yeah, I had so many Goliath monks. One of the things I did on my very first campaigns, on one of my very first fights, was landing that 20 by accident on
Damn.
on a tiefling that tried to use inflict wounds on one of my friends. So I thought, what if I just use it on him? And and then I landed in that 20, and that outright killed him. He had no death saves.
Oh my god.
Zeno was there for it, and he could probably recite it better than I can, but it was hilarious. And I just sat there just wondering, maybe I shouldn't use this as much.
Inflict wounds.
Oops, all Goliaths.
The cleric's favorite bad touch spell.
Rename it from Inflict Wounds to The Bad Touch.
That's what I was gonna name it at one point. I was like, this is just a bad touch. I should be careful with this thing.
Oh yeah. What about Soda, Andrew?
Can I tell you a bit about my first D&D character?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, go on.
So he was actually, real quick, I have the oldest art of him. I just posted it in D&D General. That's what he used to look like back in the day. He was for a homebrew campaign, and I don't really remember much from it, but I remember one distinct combat encounter in which, to preface, he's an Eladrin warlock of the Fiend, and his whole deal is that A, he doesn't like to be touched unless he uses his Mask of Many Faces to look like an undead, which is the image right below it. And second, he likes collecting evil artifacts to keep them out of the hands of others, because it's a safety hazard. And fifth, when everything else fails, he panics and hits the flirt button. And so, we were in an encounter, almost everyone was downed except my guy. And so, in character, he panicked flirt, and to preface this, we were fighting a giant eagle.
Oh, God.
He panicked flirt with the giant eagle, and then he succeeded because I rolled way too many 20s, and the DM was like, I'll allow it. And so, instead of murdering my party members, it just flew me away, and was taking me to its nest for reasons, and then I had to persuade it to not do things to me, and then I persuaded, hey, just join my party instead.
Hell
And that's how I got a pet giant eagle.
Hell yes. We love pet giant eagles. And, last but not least, Andrew, do you want to let us know a little bit about your journey?
So my name's Andrew. Last campaign I played a character named Journey, Rodney, and Roger. And then prior to this, though, I've been playing D&D since probably, I think, 29?
Wow.
Like, yeah, 2009. I've been playing since 3.5. Well, not really since 3.5, but 3.5 was my first edition that I played. Because no one talks about 4th edition.
Like Bruno.
So, yeah, exactly right. So I've been playing since then. I used to only play homebrews in 3.5, and didn't fully understand the rules when I first started playing, and I think neither did the DM. But I mean, either way, we had a good time, and it was like some of the funnest things I've ever done. I remember I found a legendary weapon, and he would always roll randomly on like stuff. And the roll table had this like way you can get a magical weapon. It would like, first, how many enchantments does it have? And it was like, I rolled it so it had like 6 enchantments, and it was my favorite item I've ever gotten. It was just a throwing dart, but it had light and returning, and like it can go through armor, and it also dealt damage to the constitution score. So I would slowly kill people, like not by like killing their health, but like dropping their constitution score to 1 or 0. And like, man, it was my favorite character I ever had, and like I'm just like, I've never gotten that high ever since. But
That
like,
sounds amazing.
it was just random stuff. But like, that was then, and then after that I played a little bit more in college with some other people. That's when 5th edition started coming out, I think. And I remember the beta for 5th edition, I used to play that with a group of people. And I've been playing 5th edition ever since. And eventually I stopped playing because of work, but then I heard at there's a tabletop, because one of the things Zeno and I talk about from time to time is how Adventure League works. Because I think that's how you got the idea for the Mannies, right?
Yes.
Or like you used, yeah. So like in Adventure League, you're basically an adventurer, and you work for the Adventurers League. And back when there was factions, you would like also pick a faction you were part of. But it's basically like, oh, you're doing the job for either your faction or for the league. And what's I like about the Adventure League stuff is that there are stories in between the books that your characters are dealing with. Like, for example, if anyone's had played Horde of the Dragon Queen, which was one of the first books that came out for 5th edition, you are actually investigating the cultists before they do their attack on Green-S. So like, you are like finding out this information, because it's cool because Adventure League has a prequel to the book, and then an exit to the book, and then a prequel to the other book. So like, there's cool, interesting stories. And since Zeno's doing the one-shots, I might actually bring up some of these, because I don't know if people are actually interested in like the storyline and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool knowing like little stuff here and there. Like, oh, this is why this is this way, and this is why, and I used to do that for about like 3 years. I used to just go there as a player, and I also used to DM there as a player too. Or DM there as a DM, not a player. Haha, duh. But eventually work got too much, and I stopped DMing. And unfortunately, COVID happened too, so it was something where I couldn't go to like the store anymore. So I started looking for ways to play D&D online, and I met a lot of people, and I've done a lot of Discords, and eventually I found Zeno, and pretty much the rest is history, I guess. Right?
Yeah, no,
the rest is great.
History. There's a lot that's also coming with it. Like adding into the whole, like, you know, the idea of one-shots. I briefly mentioned the idea of hosting other people to do it. I love back-end work. In fact, when we were doing the podcast for a while, and there might be a return of those in the future, at one point on certain days where I didn't have the capacity to actually do the podcast, I found myself just, hey, I can go live for you guys, but at this point I'm like a backstage crew, and I loved it. I love being the person who, like, you know what, we can do a rotating DM style where if someone who I had complete trust in wanted to be the DM and like was aware that I was going to be working backstage to go live and answer stuff in chat, that way I am actually hosting other people's games so that their stories can still be continued live. It would be a less of a understanding that the Xenolich is less of a person and more of the brand itself, where if you want to have a game and you want to be a part of this thing, have a game over here. I will gladly host your game so that you have a way to look back on your stories in the YouTube videos later down the line, knowing that you had the space to do so.
Oh, something I think would be really cool for the channel is so I mentioned it in the survey, but I'm not sure if you knew it was me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you did. But I mentioned something about epic campaigns, and I don't know if you know what those are.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know what it means.
All right. So for those of you who do not know what epic campaigns are, so for example, going back to the first campaign, or like every so often there's these things called epic campaigns. They have epic weapons and epic loot drops. It's kind of really cool to go for adventure leagues because you get all this cool stuff. But what's cool is you have groups, and so they're made for tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and for those of you who do not know what tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 are, it's basically levels 1 through 4, 5 through 8. No, 5 through 11, and then 11 through, I think, 16, around there. And then tier 4, which there's hardly any, unfortunately, there's hardly any, like, good campaigns for it. But tier 4 is, like, the rest of the levels to 20. But, yeah, so what happens is, an epic uses these 3 tiers, and they each have an individual story, but the stories are connected to the other stuff. So one of the few epics I've been in is this one where there's a dragon keep, and the dragon's attacking this castle. Tier 1 people kind of have to be the front line defense, and like they're the ground force troops. Tier 2 people were like griffin people, so they did airdrop missions where they had to like drop in, do a mission, and then so like tier 1 had to defend this one area so that a bomb could get to the gates, and then tier 2 had to destroy the bombs that were on the gates, and then tier 3 actually had to defeat the dragon. So like it's basically a campaign where 3 DMs are running at the same exact time, and you're waiting for someone else to finish an objective in order for DM2 to like, oh, this group just finished their stuff, it's up to you. And it's kind of cool because there's like little interesting mechanics where like if let's say group 1 fails something, it makes it harder for group 2 and group 3. So it's like
so cool. What the hell?
Yeah, no, it's super like you had to have you had to have a bunch of DMs that are like, so I think it would be kind of cool for you because like you could be tier 3, which would be like the most epic one, but then you could probably have other people stream like the tier 2s and the tier 1s, so that like, oh, people can either hop around between each channel, and then we probably give you the recording so that you can make it like a YouTube thing, so that like people who didn't see this could see it again, or like could see what was affecting what. So it's like little interesting stuff. I thought it would be neat.
Here, I was gonna say is I'm pretty sure you two have been hearing as well, but for me the Discord notifications aren't as apparent. I've been getting the ads and stuff like that. This sounds always really cool. Once again, this adds into like later down the line where like more than anything, I'm also hoping to collaborate and get a larger team of like, you know, DMs that I would add into, I guess, what you would call like an inner circle, like because
there's DM council.
A little bit like that. There's an idea of like we'll not even like a West March, but like there's plans for the future, especially for when the homebrew world eventually goes through a very large change, I literally have ideas for what is coming 5 years down the line with the world overall, as a large, not even like as the channel, just like the content we reside in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Unless someone specifically not already doubled into other projects can take control. Exactly. It's part of what actually adds into this. If you guys, I will always welcome my players wanting to add more into the channels. It's one of those things where you run it through the appropriate channels, you get it on through, and you just essentially just like get yourself into this by putting time that you want into something that you have passion about. I will always contribute to passion. But yeah, everyone. A lot of this is set up. Once again, Andrew, you'll converse with Jasmine for the negative. We already know that GHR is going to converse with her for the positive, and I'm going to converse with her to get more information about her character. I am super looking forward to next Thursday, and I hope you all are as well. Once again, if you enjoyed today's content and like what you saw, feel free to follow and subscribe on Twitch. It goes a long way towards helping out all of us here in the community. If you want to be a part of future content, be notified about anything, feel free to follow and check out the Twitters, the TikTok, the Discord, where you can hang out with us in the general chats. And of course, for any VODs, such as tonight's episode, check out the English YouTube channel. We will see you all next week for the session 1 of the Thursday group, and this Saturday for Cold Covets of Power, session 4. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.